Good evening, everybody. Welcome to one of our fairly infrequent these days video game roundtables. As you can see, tonight it is the Mega Man Roundtable. So for any fans of the Blue Bomber, you're right at home. And now, not only is he with me as always tonight, Mike, that is, but he will also probably be handling the bulk of the stream because honestly, once you get past Mega Man 2, my interest in Mega Man died off. So, but he's way more knowledgeable of it than I am. Also,
for better or worse, yeah, I know way too much about it.
Mm-hmm. And returning from previous streams with us would be Kate.
Hola.
Hoi hoi.
Yep. And joining us for the first time tonight is Steve, aka Mr. Mega Man fan.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to do this, but hey, Steve, I had to. God damn it! It's way too simple. It's the low hanging fruit there. But good to have you on, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not trapped in a mini putt dimension I can't get out of, that's fine.
Yeah, I never figured out how to get out there, and the blue water thing was gross. But the Homestar table was last week, unfortunately. Yeah. But that was a fun one.
And you may notice I also take breaks from talking because I don't really sound like myself tonight. That's because I'm sick. I'm getting better, but I am sick still, and it's affecting my voice.
Feel better, Rob.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah. Definitely do that.
To be fair, Betty got it worse than I did, but she still was able to put together our background.
That looks great.
Which I'm just seeing for the first time. That's amazing.
That's adorable.
Yep. So here we are, the four bosses that Mega Man has to fight or something. I don't know. Who's he going to pick first? Rob Man, Steve Man, Kate Woman, or Mike Man?
Yeah, Mike Man's probably the weakest, but his stage can be a little bit of a problem. So, hey there, Jay. Welcome to a Mega Man stream.
Hey, Jay.
Welcome, Jay.
So, well, let's see. We have got a lot of ground to cover tonight, so...
We do. I guess we should get right into it instead of waiting for more people to potentially fall in. I don't know.
Well, who wants to give a little bit of a refresher as to the history of Mega Man, as far as, what led up to his creation? And we could also talk about the American bad box art Mega Man at the same time.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, it might be somewhat apocryphal, but essentially Capcom was pegged to potentially make a game based off of Osamu Tezuka's iconic Astro Boy series. But for whatever reason or other, the license fell through, but somewhat Capcom liked the idea of having an adorable boy robot fight against these cool other robots in various themed worlds, and Mega Man was loosely born from that. The first game did not do excellently. The second game was mostly funded kind of out of pocket as a side project from developers at Capcom working on other games, and then that one unexpectedly became a gargantuan success, and then there were many more Mega Man games on the NES, and then the series continued on for a really long time and branched out into all sorts of spin-offs. But our main focus for tonight is probably going to be on the classic series because that already has more than 10 games in it, and crap, I'm not sure if we're going to get through them all. Yeah. But
by the way, I was just going to say, on a side note, Konami ended up with the Tetsuan Animal license.
And that game was unfortunately mediocre, but I think they farmed it out to someone else. I'm not sure that's Konami.
It was not Konami quality. So, Kate, you were about to say?
I think it's significant that Mega Man was specifically a console exclusive game because in this era, a lot of Capcom's games were made for the arcades and then either would get a console port later or didn't even get a console port. So Mega Man being developed for console first definitely stood out. And I think that helped inform the design that Mega Man would take as a series as it continued.
That is a very good point. At the time earlier on, it's like you had like Commando and Gunsmoke and Section Z on the NES, which were all, of course, arcade ports with some enhancceents. Yes, Ghosts and Goblins. Unfortunately, Micronix as it was. I see. Yeah, Micronix, my evil cousin twin or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
I am such a dork. But, that is a really good point that, yes, I am. That Mega Man was true blue 100% NES exclusive, so to speak, if not the only game that Capcom had at the time that was like that. It would become the most prominent, and then they'd certainly look more into the console market. I mean, throughout the 16-bit, they would also still have several arcade ports as well, but also make their own original series like Breath of Fire, for example. And then when we got to the PlayStation, Resident Evil happened. They were still a big wheel in the arcades. I mean, they made Street Fighter frickin' 2, which basically kept the entire arcade scene going throughout the 90s. But, they were very good at juggling both arcade and console norms, and Mega Man itself did feel specifically designated as a console experience. Challenging, but for the most part, not frustrating, being that every single game in the series has unlimited continues, so they're not discouraging you to get the hell out of here. They do want you to win. You're just going to have to work for it.
For the first Mega Man, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think a little of that design philosophy can also be attributed to Super Mario Brothers, being that it's a console game as opposed to an arcade game, as was already said, and unlimited continues, as was already said. Those were the 2 points I was going to hit, that they really redefined what a home video game experience could be with Super Mario Brothers. And I feel like some of that design language carried over when Capcom built the original Rockman / Mega Man. They thought, an adventure game where you can keep playing no matter what. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can definitely see that with regard to the jumping physics, with how Mega Man jumping is pretty forgiving, and that feels like an extension of what Nintendo brought with Super Mario Brothers jump physics.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Also, Jay, sorry to hear that you're not feeling well either. Join the club. I heard from Mo earlier. I feel better. I heard from Mo earlier tonight she's not going to be coming in tonight because she herself is not feeling well.
Jesus, what the fuck's going on?
I don't know, but it smacked the crap out of Bette and me, so...
Well, I kind of hope we're not playing to a completely empty house, to be honest.
Well, if the entire audience isn't feeling good.
I just hope this isn't the Sigma virus, given we're doing a Mega Man podcast.
Ah, crap.
Oh, Jimmy. We have to be robots for that, I think.
Yeah.
So, actually, this is the classic series, so wouldn't it be like Robo Enza or whatever it's called?
Yeah, Robo Enza for Mega Man 10. Right, good point.
What are we, Monsteropolis?
Yeah. So, on the original Mega Man, as far as the arcade connection is concerned, the first game does still have kind of an arcade feel, and that's specifically because of the score system, which only the original Mega Man has.
So freaking weird.
And so
I can understand.
You don't get any benefit from collecting the power pellets and getting a high score. Like, what are you going to do? Show that to your friends? Beat my score. It's meaningless.
It's like, what do you think it is?
I mean,
Space
in the
Invaders?
80s, that was a thing that people would do, is compare high scores. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a thing that people do as much today.
For
And
Mega
in fact,
Man.
the scores you get for beating the Robot Masters in Mega Man are randomized. You don't even get a consistent score. It's not like this one's worth more and this one's worth less. No, it's just arbitrarily selected.
Yeah,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
the whole scoring system just seems like a holdover from arcades and whatnot. So it was wise they ditched it.
Mm-hmm.
But to kick things off by talking about the original Mega Man here. Hey, how about that bad box art Mega Man, huh? He's doing the Cabbage Patch while holding a gun and wearing golden armor.
No comment. Well, okay, if I were to comment, yeah, I don't know, that was just infamously weird. Not really like the only game that has like really ill-fitting box art. Like I'm thinking about that one for Strider where you're like some blonde surfer dude or whatever and said Hiryu on the cover of that one. But
blonde surfer dude.
And well, not like Hinjo, but maybe he was for all I know. But
that box art Mega Man is iconic. Whenever you hear anyone talk about bad video game cover art, they're inevitably going to bring up bad box art Mega Man. So I think that's notable in its own right.
It's like right up there with the
think
Super
it's
NES
crossed-
Phalanx.
It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where it crosses over into so bad it's good because it makes you laugh and you enjoy it. So
This is true. But, as far as the game itself, it hard.
yeah, I mean, I guess to establish the overall setting of the series in 20XX is also known as robots are now a big thing, and they're fairly humanoid. They do comply with Asimov's 3 laws, but things seem to be relatively peaceful between robots and the humans who made them. But Dr. Albert Wiley gets jealous at the particularly advanced robots that his colleague Dr. Thomas Light has created, and the jerk reprograms and steals several of them, and because he's a bitter misanthrope, apparently, he goes unleashing these robots upon humankind, and the main robot that Dr. Light built, Rock, aka Mega Man, who is known as Rockman in Japan because they're going for a musical theme there, but he's not based on like Stone or whatever. Mega Man has to go and beat the 6 former Lightbots, who in this one were Bomb Man, Guts Man, Cut Man, Elec Man, Iceman, and Fireman. And then get to Wily himself, go to his fortress and stop it and all that. It is a pretty straightforward plot, and I retold it incredibly poorly. But the basic thrust of the series is that Mega Man has to stop the robot masters, as they're known as, that Dr. Wily has built, and he has to go through all sorts of wackily themed stages. It's almost like a carnival funhouse in every game, and I do mean that endearingly so. But
I do want to make
yes.
one slight correction. In the very first Mega Man, canonically, the Robot Masters were built by Dr. Light and then were reprogrammed by Dr. Wily to be evil.
Yeah, I thought I mentioned that actually. But my volume might be crappy.
No worries.
Am I coming through? Okay, just checking.
You are.
Okay, cool. They were originally Dr. Light's robots, then Dr. Wily stole them, but then from then on out, for the most part, the robot masters that Mega Man faced were, for the most part, created by Wily himself. There's an exception in Mega Man 4, but we'll get to that when we get to that. In this case, the first Mega Man is a little weird. We mentioned the points thing, and Mega Man's own facilities are rather primitive. He can't slide. He doesn't have the charge shot. In this game, there are no passwords or any sort of backup, like battery or whatever. And And the energy tanks that would become iconic later in the series did not exist in the first game, so he really had his work cut out for him. As a sort of mea culpa, he only has to fight 6 robot masters in the original until it became standardized in the sequel with 8 from here on out. But even if there are only those 6 stages and the 4 Wily stages, yeah, it hard, like Rob said.
There are a lot of things going on with Mega Man's design in the original, or the Mega Man game's design in the first game compared to later games that, like, some are more subtle and others are more complex that end up making this a lot tougher. You touched on a couple of them already. There's also some minor things, like the fact that most Mega Man games have spikes, which if you come into contact with spikes, you die instantly. So most later games, if you like get hit by an enemy, you'll have iframes, and then if you touch spikes while your iframes are active, or invincibility frames, if anyone's not familiar, then you won't die as long as your iframes are still up. But the first Mega Man, even if you have your iframes active, you'll still die when hitting the spikes. So it's very unforgiving in that regard.
Yep.
And then,
That's hard.
so when you finish a stage, in most Mega Man games, when you go into the gates, like the door that leads to the boss, you'll just pass through like a screen that basically works as like a breather so that you can switch to the right weapon that you want or whatnot. And that's basically it. But in the first Mega Man game, even when you reach that gate, you'll still encounter some enemies that try to whittle down your health while you try to make your way to the boss room. So that's a pretty nasty thing to encounter.
Yeah. Steve, you're going to say something earlier?
Oh, I was just going to say, it feels like the design philosophy of 8 robot masters that would become a tradition after that was something they were already at least anticipating, because there are 8 different abilities you can collect even if you only face 6 robot masters. So it's almost like we wanted to have 8, but we didn't have time, so we're just going to make the other 2 something that you have to collect while you traverse the levels.
Yeah,
Well, I do remember the magnet beam, but not the other thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember the magnet beam too, but I can't think of the other one.
Yeah, I can only think of the magnet beam that you get as an additional thing.
The
The
full
magnet
list.
beam. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the full list is Arm Cannon, Firestorm, Hyper Bomb, Super Arm, Rolling Cutter, Thunder Beam, Ice Slasher, and Magnet Beam.
Well, the arm cannon is what Mega Man starts out with, so it's not exactly something you gotta collect. But by being persnickety, sorry.
You are being
Yeah, okay.
persnickety, Mike.
So
I
the
really think
magnet
can do
beam.
that.
The magnet beam is kind of an odd item because it's technically possible to skip it when going through the main Robot Master stages, but if you don't collect it during your initial run through them, then you are required to go back and get it. I think
Yeah,
it's
you
an
can't beat the
Elecman
Wily
stage.
stages without it. You're stuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, pretty
It's an
much.
Elecman stage, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the one. But you need Gutsman's very weird super arm to get there. Yeah, the subject of weapons in the Mega Man series. Whenever you beat one of the Robot Masters, you get their fiend weapon that they use, which has been a eternal hallmark of the series that makes each one variable and interesting in their own way. Some have better arsenals than others. The first Mega Man, unfortunately, really imbalanced with its arsenal. The Elect Beam is really powerful. The Firestorm's not bad, but the Hyper Bomb that you get from Bomb Man sucks, and the Super Arm from Guts Man is very ad hoc, to say the least. Not a lot of designated constant purpose for it. It can only be used in specific areas, and there wouldn't really be another weapon like the Super Arm ever, not counting Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy with the Deep Digger. But Yeah. Again, they were working things out. They were getting through the experimental phases, figuring out what was
Yeah.
and what was not for the best.
And I think in that way, they also didn't anticipate players using the abilities in ways they weren't intended, which is why I've
Yeah.
always been partial to the elect beam
Hmm.
because you can take out the yellow devil with the pause trick by firing it and just mashing the pause button repeatedly. It's obvious they didn't anticipate that players would do that.
Nope. I have to. Now, Mike.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Gassy.
There are times I actually wonder how in the world I managed to finish it. But I did. It's one of the only Mega Man games I've actually finished. But I'll also say that it was the first Mega Man game I ever played. Yeah, I
What's
remember.
funny is I started with two and went back to one as a rental, and because of the lack of passwords, I remember I had to rent a Nintendo on the game and leave it on all weekend long, and hope that nobody would unplug it or the power wouldn't cut out, because otherwise I was going to have to start over.
Oh, good times.
My younger brother had actually rented the game, and this was, I think, right before Mega Man 2 came out. So played it, and I was like, yeah, that's neat. I liked it for what it was worth, but,
But this made me want to go back and go, hey, there had to be a game before this. What's that all about?
yeah. Unless, of course, you start with, say, the Goonies 2, and you go looking for an original Goonies game, and you never find it until years later on the internet.
Yeah. Or you import games from Japan, but who did that back then?
Well, not me, unfortunately. Otherwise, I probably would have owned that one at the time. But I was trying to think. There was a couple other things about the original game that, oh yeah,
Did we discuss what the magnet beam actually does?
creates floors, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
It's
much.
a
It almost
very
should have been
unique.
called Floor Beam, not Magnet Beam. I mean,
Exactly.
really.
That's
Yeah,
good
it's a
form.
very oddly named. Calling it a weapon isn't really accurate, but it's a nice utility that I don't think any other games in the series would use, but it's used to pretty interesting effect because making your own platforms to platform off of is a pretty neat feature that I do think is appreciated. I appreciate it,
Oh
at
yeah.
least.
The only reason I will still call it a weapon is because it has its own power meter, and when it runs out, you don't have it anymore, which is like any other weapon that you use.
That's true.
Well, true.
There, let me think. There was something. Oh yeah, I also remember my brother in must have been mid '90. He'd gotten a copy of Ninja Gaiden 2, which was pretty brand new at the time, and ended up trading it away for the original Mega Man.
Mm.
Now, I know I told my friends about that, and they're like, what, is he nuts? Because, everyone loved Ninja Gaiden 2. But it's like, well,
I
I
should also
guess
acknowledge that Snarb has entered the stream. Just saying so.
Snarb.
For
Hey, Snarb.
sakes.
Of course, that brings up the age-old debate of whether it's Gaiden or Gaiden, but we probably don't want to get into that.
Well,
It's not really a debate. It's just fact or incorrect.
yeah. It's like,
Pretty much.
yeah,
Bob and I grew up incorrect because I said Gaiden as a kid.
a lot of
I
people
did
Oh,
too,
darn.
but then I learned better.
Exactly.
It's hard to overcome the habit. I'm sorry.
Well, I can understand that. But, yeah, so and it turns out Mega Man was actually a lot harder to find than Ninja Gaiden 2. So, he actually did good on that deal.
hmm Certainly worth more now.
Also.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But suffice to say, the original game was the prototype for what was to come. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I still like Mega Man 1 quite a bit, but its roughness does very much show through compared to everything else that came after it. It's definitely not a bad game. I still get quite a bit of enjoyment out of it, and not to brag, but I am pretty good at the Mega Man series, so I find it a fair challenge on the whole. For me, probably the most frustrating bit might be the copy robot at the end of the second Wily stage, who is an arbitrary bastard who will just not let you win if he doesn't want you to today. But no, otherwise, it's very interesting to see where the series started, and it's still pretty good on its own. I would be hard pressed to call it the worst in the series, even if it does have all the rough edges it does. But yes, I still really like it.
Speaking of the Yellow
definitely
Devil,
established a lot of the. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one thing I remember as a kid is that no one knew what his name was, at least where I lived. So we ended up calling him Molecule Man. Which
I think that's a DC superhero.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, Steve, you were saying?
Oh, just the one other thing I think I'm affectionate about the game for is establishing tropes like the disappearing blocks, like the bane of our existence for future Mega Man games. We love it, we hate to love it, we love to hate it. It's just you got to deal with it, and that game established the fact that you're gonna step on a block and a second later it's gone. You better jump before it goes.
I can still hear the noise it makes whenever they reappear. Or they appear.
Yeah, the Yoku blocks, as I believe they're known. I forget what Yoku means in Japan, but
it probably means screw you, buddy.
yeah, pretty much.
Also, I was to add.
Oh yes, go ahead, Kate.
One thing that I do appreciate about the original Mega Man compared with the sequels is how much more challenging it is, and the fact that you can't use the conveniences that later games introduced in order to cheese your way through. So I do appreciate that it's more of a straightforward challenge, well, discounting the pause trick.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Also, I was wrong. Molecule Man is the exact opposite of a DC hero. Is actually a Marvel villain, but it does actually exist.
Yep, and I see Sharon has also finally decided to make her entrance.
Welcome,
Sharon. What up?
Good to have you.
How do?
I wouldn't call her a Mega Man fan by any means.
Well, hopefully we can educate well enough in the series. But
please, our brother... He gave her a healthy dose of everything Mega Man while he was still alive. So
I see.
But
I see.
Anyway, all that said, we can move on to the crown jewel of the Mega Man series now.
I love Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2 can never be surpassed, in my opinion. In fact, I have no problem with any of the game except for one thing. I just wish he moved up and down the ladders faster.
Oh, two. I've actually been a little up and down on it over the years, but I'm at the point where, no, I'm going to back to popular opinion. I do think it is arguably the best game in the series just because of how foundational it is and how much it still works very well on its own. But the rest of the series would not exist without 2, and this is a case where I think I do have to acknowledge that it just reshaped everything. It changed the game. It set everything from here on out. And I still think it's awesome as well, despite some imperfections, but the roughness I do find interesting in its own way.
Well, hey.
And it's certainly got the most iconic intro of any Mega Man game of all time, considering how many ways it has been imitated, parodied, and riffed on. Mm-hmm. It is definitely foundational for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the power scroll up, it's been almost, done to death at this point, but, it is one of the most influential video games ever, really. I mean, Absolutely. This one was just mega balls gigantic for its time. Like I said, it was like a side project that other Capcom devs were working on like their own time and pretty much putting everything from their own pocket into making. it was a passion project, and that really shines through with the end result. It is not a game made by committee. It is a game made by a bunch of starving young programmers that just wanted to make something really freaking cool, and they really succeeded with that, I feel.
They were
It
hungry.
also comes across as like we know what we could have done the first time, and we're gonna show you. Like this is our heart and soul we're pouring into this. Everything we didn't get to do last time, we're gonna do it now.
Yep. And, I remember all the publications at the time that covered video games just absolutely heaping all sorts of praise and guides and passwords and all sorts of stuff. Just,
Yes.
they just, basically, I think if it wasn't for games like, Mario or Zelda, whichever, iterations were out at the time, I think Mario 2 and Zelda 2, that probably would have made, like, Game of the Year when it was released, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they really did just blew that game out all over the place. But seeing it in action, that was impressive. Like, okay, who remembers the first time you encountered the dragon?
Oh yeah,
That bastard.
it freaked me the freak out getting chased by that thing across the stage and having to time every single jump and getting those palms sweaty like Eminem says. It's like, oh, you lose control.
Yep. And let's see. Sharon's talking about, she asked me about this earlier, and I said I need more to go on. Some kind of Mega Man game. She thinks it might have been in 3D. There was a little robot girl helping Mega Man.
That must have been Mega Man Legends.
That was what I thought too.
Yes, that's definitely Legends. Or Trombone maybe, but in that series either way.
That wouldn't surprise me if it was Legends. Not sure if Sharon would have ever played Trombone.
When we talk about the other Nintendo games being iconic, like Mario and Zelda at the time, think about this. Mega Man 2 was the cover of the 7th issue of Nintendo Power. So even with all of Nintendo's big iconic franchises, this game was so big they still gave it a cover and a full issue.
This is true.
Yeah, MM2 really helped put Capcom on the map as one of the burgeoning non-Nintendo game makers on the console. I really think that Konami was the only one that matched them, because I remember that the second issue of Nintendo Power was that really infamous one based on Castlevania 2, where like a knight-looking Simon was holding Dracula's severed head, and they like got angry calls about that, frightening the children or whatever. But I digress. Yeah, no, that 2, I can't stress how much of a big deal it was for its time, but it's also important to note that it still really holds up today for the most part. I mean, like I said, there are a few foibles. Heatman stage can eat my ass, but we'll get into specifics in a bit, I'm sure. Unless anyone else has anything to say about the game's huge influence and anything else surrounding its circumstances.
Mega Man 2 was the first Mega Man game that I played, and obviously it made a big impression on me. And on the topic of Heatman, I actually went in recent years, and now I've gotten to the point after practicing Mega Man 2 enough where I often just start with Heatman stage, and I can get through the disappearing block section in Heatman stage on my first try without dying, so that's really fun to pull off once you get it down.
I never
I've always
really
going to start with Bubble Man because the first time I ever played it, that was the first stage I played. Plus, I know that I'll use the Bubble Lead against Heatman, so for me, that's the go-to.
I usually start with Metal Man. Just because.
Well, he's got the best weapon, so I can't blame you for that.
Well, yeah.
I used to start with Bubble Man for some reason, but now I usually do start with Metal Man. And I often save Heatman stage for last because I'm not a big fan of that Yoku bridge. No other Yoku block segment in the entire series has been as gratuitously cruel since then. I did do it legitimately at least once. I'm lazy and I've never been motivated to do it again. So
You just have to memorize the pattern. Once you got it down, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather just take item 2.
I gotta put my brain back into the focus, but I do appreciate that the Mega Man series often gives you a few, well, not exactly cheats, but methods to get around as long as you have the energy for them. In the two here, like replacing the magnet beam or the 3 platform items. I think you get item 1 from Heatman, item 2 from Airman. I think Flashman gives you item 3. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, item 1 creates floating platforms you can jump to. Item 2 is a sled, the air sled basically. Item 3 is weird. It inches up walls, but it's a lot more ad hoc than the other two.
It's a wall
The
crawler.
first two items, yeah, pretty much. It's like items 1 and 3 would like these served as the prototype for what would become Mega Man's constant companion, the Robo Dog Rush, to debut in 3 and outward. But again, we're getting to the foundations of how the series started out. So they're still figuring out a few things. Like I said earlier, this was the first one to actually have 8 robot masters, and that turned out to be the magic number. And also, if I may mention, that not a lot of other games had this structure where you were able to choose the levels that you could get to in whatever order there was. For action
And that
games at the
joy of,
time, that was yeah.
sorry, I was just going to say, and that joy of discovery that when you figured out one boss was weak to another boss's weapon. I mean, that feeling,
Yeah.
that inexplicable feeling, the first time I played Mega Man 2, and that was my first Mega Man game, I was like, holy shit, I can beat this guy easy now.
Yeah, the weakness chains, so to speak, is another important thing with the series, that everyone is weak to a weapon that you can get from one of the others, so you have to figure out which is the easiest stage to take on with just the Buster, and then just kind of ravel from there. I have my system set for just about every game. 2 is actually somewhat interesting in that the weaknesses are a little looser in this one. Like, I think more than one Robot Master is weak to the Metal Blade. The Crash Bombs are kind of awkward to use, but I think a couple are weak against them if you know what you're doing with them. Technically, Woodman is weak against Heatman's Atomic Fire, but the good old overpowered Metal Blade works pretty well against him too. Arsenal overall better than the first game, except that the Metal Blade is really heavily bends the curve, so to speak. Like I like the quick boomerangs, and the air shooter has its purposes. So there's some good stuff in there.
Of Mega Man weapons, I'm actually kind of curious, but first I'll point out that with Mega Man 2, I tends to not use most Robot Master weapons unless I'm fighting the Robot Master that they're weak to. The exception being the Metal Blades, so they are really handy in any situation.
Yeah, I'm the same way for the most part. I'm usually alright with using the Mega Buster for 90% of the game, unless a weapon would serve a good purpose for taking out an enemy at a specific part. But the Metal Blades I am more liberal in using because they're stronger than the arm cannon shots. They can be thrown. They're omnidirectional. They can be thrown in all 8 directions, and they're like bustedly ammo efficient. You only drain 1 pip of energy after throwing 4 Metal Blades, so you get a lot of freaking mileage, and any of the weapon capsules you find just keeps going on, so you really have to be wasting them on purpose to run out. So it's ludicrous.
That leads into my question. I'm curious whether the rest of you tend to use Robot Master weapons outside of their fights that they're weak to or whatnot, or if you just stick with the arm cannon.
I find it's situational. Like, going back to the original Mega Man, I found that Electman's weapon was sometimes the only way to eliminate those pesky little robots that crawl back and forth along the platform and move at you when you jump on the platform. And it's like,
Yeah.
I just want to get those things out of the way before I jump, so I'm using a Lekman's beam to take them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Gabo Yalls, or whatever the hell they're called, is a weird name. But yeah, those floor skimming bastards. I know the one you mean.
Did you say Gabo?
Shoot, I'm gonna have to look this up.
Gabo.
The hell was that? Gabyol. How the hell do you pronounce that? Holy shit. Gabyall. Gabiol? I have no freaking idea. Anyway,
look, Smithers, Garbo is coming.
For you and for the... Yeah, those are the things they mean. The little turds with the fucking spikes that look like hockey pucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate those things.
The worst is the disappearing platform area where there's one right there in the water, and every time you miss the platform, it's going to hit you again. I hate it.
My favorite thing to do with those is to scroll them off the screen and despawn them.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. That is a good idea. Yeah, you can do a little exploits.
You can choose a lot of enemies in the Heatman stage in Mega Man 2 that way too. You just scroll and they're gone.
Yeah.
It's a lot looser with that than Ninja Gaiden is, to say the least. But yeah, and they get variants throughout the series. Like Mega Man 2 has those springers, which are, I think, completely invincible, and then they go like boing whenever they hit you just to taunt you. Those little fuckers, I hate them a lot.
I love those guys just because of how they look whenever they do their little spring thing.
They're cute, they're goofy, and I want to strangle them, but they are rather iconic for... Like, there's a lot of good enemy designs, even outside of the Robot Masters. Like, the Woodman stage has giant rabbits and monkeys and chickens, or some sort of large running bird or whatever. The Sniper Joe armors. Oh yeah, the Sniper Joes, those assholes.
Yeah.
They have variants throughout the series, but their thing is that they have a shield or something to shield them that they can only be hit whenever they're trying to attack you, for the most part. And
they're jerks.
Everybody hates them. Yes.
Also, before you get too much further into this, Mike.
Yes.
Kate, to answer your question, I too basically use either one or the other depending on the situation. I do stick to the arm cannon for the most part.
Yeah. As I said, I usually tend to use the arm cannon / Mega Buster for like 90% of the stages and save the weapons for their appropriate Robot Masters. But if there is a case where a specific weapon would be useful to get past a tough or annoyingly placed enemy, then I don't see why not to use a weapon if I have the energy for it. Especially like omnidirectional ones like the Metal Blade, or like later in the series the Pharaoh Shot from Mega Man 4, or those like all screen wiping ones like the Rain Flush, also from 4, and the Gravity Hold from 5, and so forth. But Snarb uses them pretty regularly, but it depends. We'll get to the top spin, Snarb. Don't you worry. Mother shit. But as far as Mega Man 2 is concerned, it's got a lot of iconic level design all around, like the really cool dark red hues of Metal Man stage with all the conveyor belts and the crushy thingies, and Flashman being effectively kind of an ice stage, but with that really cool music that sounds like that one song by Chicago, and it has all the slippery floors and whatnot, and Crash Band's really upbeat music. Those platforms are kind of annoying to navigate, but I like just the sense how you just keep going up and up. Some Mega Man stages are more vertical in their design, and Crash Man is certainly one of the most vertical I can think of. But I'm not going to get into the details of every level. I just wanted to mention the infamy of Quick Man's stage back in the day, and his laser beams of instant death.
You talked about wanting to go up and down ladders faster. I wanted to traverse those stages faster. Like, Jesus, can I get out of the way of the laser? Come on. I'm doing everything I can here. Let me move. Let me get out of the way. Fuck.
The laser beams, I would say, if you've been playing Mega Man long enough like I have, you know what to expect from them, and once you know what you're doing, they're not so bad. Is what I would say if in my recent replay of Mega Man 2 this week, I didn't get roasted by them like 3 fucking times. I was really embarrassed by that.
Even if you played it 100 times, they're still going to get you.
Exactly. I tried to get greedy and get that extra life in that one screen that has like the 2 platforms jutting out, and that went
Not
poorly.
worth it.
And then I kind of lost. It's not, no. And then I lost my focus for a couple lives afterwards. I felt like an asshole. But it happens. What can you do?
But you mentioned music before, and the soundtrack is definitely worth mentioning.
Hell yeah. I mean,
oh, give me one second here. I've got an issue.
Okay.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Oh, sounds like a pet thingy.
Hello, Ash. You're clawing at my door here. What do you want? Well, meow.
Meow.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's my little kitty buddy. He adopted me when we brought him home.
Y'all know I had a cat named Kingo, right?
No, I wasn't aware.
Kinga?
Yeah, past tense,
Kinga.
because he passed away last year.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right. He was 18 years old, so he had a good long life with us.
Yeah, no, that is long for cats. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my little kitty buddy. Now you need to leave. Go on. No, you're not coming in the room. No, go.
Jen.
Okay. Kitty break over.
Hey, no problem. But yeah, the soundtrack, many Mega Man games have real bangers for soundtracks, so many catchy and energetic tunes, but 2's is likely the best known out of all of them. Almost all the tracks are friggin' immortal.
Dr. Wily's
to the
Castle.
point where when I rented the game as a kid, I put a tape recorder next to my TV so I could listen to it when I was done playing. That's how much I love those songs.
Excellent. And yes, the first Wily track is the most iconic Mega Man music ever, and like in a top 10 list at least of most well-known NES tracks ever made. And unlike DuckTales' Moon Theme, I'm not going to say this one's overrated. It's perfectly rated. It's still a banger after all these years. What can I say? I would like to complain that Heatman's music isn't the best. It's a little low-key and a little bit more redundant than some of the others.
Now, what's that thing you're always saying, Mike? They can't all be zingers.
No, they can. I mean, that's just my opinion. It's not a bad track. At least, yeah, a lot of them are very hummable. It's still alright. It's just, I think, overshadowed by most of the rest. And the other Wily track, which is the other Wily trick, the one place where ladder stages, which I crudely, sardonically call Evil Pachelbel's Canon, is also pretty repetitive. I mean, it's decent at building tension, but it gets long in the tooth throughout the 4th stage, which is a point of contention. I hear that 4th Wily stage really sucks. But
there is actually one other one I want to bring up because it fits it so perfectly. Yeah. The ending.
Yeah, go ahead.
Theme.
Oh yeah.
The
2's.
That's one of my favorite video game endings ever.
Yeah, it actually went for a very dramatic bent compared to, like, as the series just kept going on, it felt maybe, like, less dramatic in certain other games than others, but this one ends with, after Mega Man beats Dr. Wily, he walks throughout the seasons in some anonymous area, and I like how he changes his colors to, match the appropriate season in question, and then he just looks off into the pasture, and then the screen expands. It shows this very peaceful hillside, but then Mega Man himself is gone, and only his helmet is left behind. It's a little bit cryptic, like, very open to interpretation. I always thought that that's just, like, Mega Man reflecting on, Bot having to kill Bot, but at least it's over now, and, he can retire peacefully, and hopefully he won't have to do any of that ever again, which, of course, he would have to many, many, many more times, but the sentiment was nice for the time, at least.
And I always interpreted that as they didn't think they were going to ever make another game. Like, this is our cinematic ending. There's no sequel to this. They had no idea that they were going to keep doing it after that.
And
yeah, it's a good point. I think I've seen some people maybe say that, like, maybe it actually, like, died or, like, disappeared or whatever. Like,
I just assumed he took the helmet off because he retired. He's like, I'm done. No more fighting. I'm through.
Now, whereas I thought
at least I do hope him, but...
he vaporized himself with a metal blade, and only his helmet remains.
Wow.
There is a point that I want to say.
Yes, please do.
So, one thing that's pretty neat about the music is that the ending theme in the first Mega Man is kind of leads into the intro theme to Mega Man 2, and then that music then gets iterated on again in Mega Man 2's ending. So I think that's a pretty cool bit of continuity right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the credits music. It's a really nice bit of full circle. Yeah, absolutely. So, like, what more can we really say about 2 other than it's the total package and every Mega Man game going forward owes its existence to it? I mean, I get the sentiment from some people that whenever something gets as hyped as it does, you have the contrarian hipsters who are like, it wasn't that great. This obscure entry is the secret best one, blah, blah, blah. And I hate to admit, but I think I was like that for a while. But replaying all the main games, I have a really hard time making a case that any of them are really better than 2. There are some others that I really like that I would put on 2's level, but... again, this one's just as great as it is, and I'm not sure if I can do that.
The thing that I think is most defining about 2 is that every single thing that it changed or added compared to the first Mega Man would be kept for the sequels, like the idea of having 8 Robot Masters instead of 6, and having passwords and energy tanks and whatnot. So
yes, it did add both the password and the energy
that were
tanks.
1, 2, and 3 that later became rush powers. All of those things just got standardized here.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, it still works great as a game itself. I've noted my distaste for Heatman's stage, although I like Heatman's design himself. The whole Zippo lighter thing is really novel, I think. Like the only other stage I'd say I'm not so fond of is the 4th Wily one. Not in so much that it's difficult, but more that it's tedious because they bring back those line platforms from Crash Band stage, and you just pretty much have to ride him out to the end, or else you fall on spikes. And then it ends with one of the most reviled bosses in the series, the Boo Beam Trap, as I believe it's known as, which is those 5 cannons that you need to use every Crash Bomb in order to beat, and if you miss one, you have to pretty much grind your energy up or die on purpose and restart the stage. Which is just once you know what to do, and if you have an energy tank or 2, it's not so much bad, it's just really annoying. It feels less like a fight and more of an obnoxious timed puzzle. But it's unique for the series standards, I'll give it that, even if I don't necessarily like it. And there are also quite a few other unique things this was also the one that, for better or worse, gave us the teleporter room before the final battle with Wily. I mean, you re-fought all of the Robot Masters in the first Wily Castle, but they just peppered them at you throughout. They're baked into stages 2 and 4. Here, you have the teleporter room where you have to basically re-fight everyone, and I'm not usually the biggest fan of boss rushes that just straight up rehash the bosses you've already fought with no frills. I always thought that kind of feels like padding. But in the Mega Man series, I don't mind it as much, since it kind of feels like a grandfathered-in institution, and I can't imagine most of the games not doing that. Plus, you have all your weapons at your disposal, so the fights can just go really fast, because you have all weaknesses exploited at this point. And of course, this is the one that allows you to throw the metal blade at Metal Man and kill him in 1 or 2 shots, so there's...
I think the point of the boss rushes in Mega Man games is to allow players to have the freedom to experiment with all of the weapons against the different bosses so that they can then learn. Because your first time going through the game, unless you have a guide, you aren't going to know who's weak to what. So that'll help you for replays in order to find out through experimentation who's weak to which weapon.
And I always thought of it as a reward. Like, congratulations, you got this far. Here's a little bit of fun for you. You get to smack all these guys around now that you can use their weaknesses and you know what they are. So here, just go to town, have fun, enjoy this.
Those are both really good points, and that's why I never really that might explain why I never really minded it so much in the Mega Man series, because it fits with the game. The whole reward and education angles, I can totally buy those, and like I said, they can and likely will go quickly just because you have everything to use at your disposal. It's not like a game like I remember the SNK game King of the Monsters 2. Before you fought the final boss, you had to refight every single boss, including the boss from the last stage that you just beat, and it was just a huge rehash without any frills to it, and it took a really long time, and it was really annoying. Mega Man's not like that with its boss rushes, and I can't imagine them without the teleporter rooms. Although the Game Boy games... some of the Game Boy games get by without them, but yeah. And also Wily Alien, what a twist! Except it was just a hologram, but still, there's that.
I did like the lead up to him, where it's just silent except for those acid drops falling.
That is a really out of pocket, creepy part for the series. I like it too. Again, that's another little unique touch that is totally that. In 2's possession that no other game really bothered to replicate.
And they make a neat sound when they fall, too.
Yeah, I can't replicate it at all, but yeah, I know what you mean. But
yep. So, I think we've pretty much covered everything we can about Mega Man 2.
Can I add one quick note, though?
All right.
Go ahead.
Heatman stage was the first time I ever noticed what people would come to call sprite slowdown. Like, to me, that was something I never really took notice of in other NES games that I had rented and played. But when I played that Heatman stage and I noticed how everything was starting to flicker and just move at a snail's pace, it was like, wow, is this system powerful enough for this game? What the hell?
Yeah.
That's the question, isn't it?
Certainly.
And of course, with modern emulators, you can now defeat the sprite limit, but it just feels nostalgic when you get to Heatman and everything grinds to a halt.
Yeah, that really helps me for Gradius 3, because the version that cleans up all the slowdown, the SA1 version that cleans up all the slowdown, just I couldn't get past the third boss. I couldn't get past the third boss with it. That guy's a jerk.
It's Moeda's.
Yeah, Gradius needs the slowdown. Gradius is greatly helped by it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, certainly.
All right, so, but yeah, that was Mega Man 2, and now that we've talked about the, greatest Mega Man game ever, stream's over. Good night, everybody.
Okay, so we probably won't take as long discussing the other ones because, at this point, the formula was set, and for better or worse, it would be clung to very tightly going forward. But
3 is huge for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, we got to ask Mike about the top spin.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, fine. I mean, that's too soon. Can't we set up a couple of other things about 3 first?
Yes, we can.
Slide.
Yes. Mega Man 3, wherein Dr. Light and Dr. Wily apparently broke her peace and built a really, really giant kaiju-sized robot for some reason, which seems like an obviously bad idea. Once again, robots go crazy, and now there's this mysterious one with shades and a cool scarf that runs into Mega Man, which Well, you know, he's special. I mean, it's Proto Man. Like, it was a huge reveal at the very end, so I'm just starting with that spoiler that this is Proto Man, Mega Man's brother, or the one robot that Dr. Light built before Mega Man, thus his older brother, and would become a very iconic character for the series from here on outward, if not the most important one all the time. He would be very important in the Ruby Spears cartoon, but then he'd be a full-on villain for some reason.
Was that the one? Wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. But don't forget what his Japanese name is, because it fits right with the musical theme.
Yeah, Blues.
Oh, Blues.
Oh, yes. Rock and Blues are now Mega Man and Proto Man. And yet Roll didn't get her name changed. Roll being Mega Man's sister, who is adorable, and I wish she had a bigger part most of the time. But,
I mean,
can I throw in a real quick side note?
Mm-hmm.
I was at a convention with my wife, and at the end of the convention, people said, "Goodbye, Rock. Goodbye, Roll." And I'm like, wait a minute, they're brother and sister. I didn't marry my sister.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
I do have something to say about Roll. I do think it's neat that for the most part she is not a damsel in distress, considering how common that was in video games in this time period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Wily never once thinks to kidnap her. He's all more about, destruction of the cities up front, but he never resorts to that hackneyed ploy. So that is good that Roll isn't damsel, because that is such a horribly frustrating trope, to say the least. But yeah, Mega Man 3, once again, we've got 8, and I don't have to say that from here on out, because it's always 8 from now on all the time, so I won't. But as Kate mentioned, this is the first one that gives Mega Man the ability to slide across the ground. Hold down and press the jump button. Mega Man does a slide that can A, get him past gaps that are only 1 block in height, and B, have him move faster, so now we have a tool that benefits speedrunners, because they can just kind of skim through and the ground and shave several seconds off of their time, ideally.
As if wall zips didn't already help speedrunners.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, glitches are certainly abundant and present in the series, and 3, from what I gather, has more glitches than normal, but I'm not sure where I should go with that necessarily. 3...
there's an entire YouTube video, I think it's called Behind the Code, which details every single glitch in the game, and there are a lot.
Yeah, Displaced Gamers. I need to check that channel out more.
It's a great video.
Yeah, I remember that was the channel that talked about the weird-ass wall jump in Strider on the NES.
Also, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they increase his climbing speed in 3?
I think maybe a little. If it's an increase, it's kind of subtle, but like...
One game too late.
Yeah, alas.
Yep.
But yeah, the Robot Masters here... Well, the Robot Masters in 2 were Crash, Metal, Flash, Wood, Quick, Air, Bubble, and Heat. Here we have Magnet, Hard, Top, Shadow, Spark, Snake, Gemini, and Needle. I know all
Hard
this
Man.
by... Yes. This is the one with Hard Man, who is... who has a...
Games are hard. He's hard for games.
Rather thick head, let's say, and take that for... everything you... And it's not helping that his weapon is the hard knuckle, where you get to fist your opponent. Did they know what they were doing here? I swear. This shit's deliberate.
They knew exactly what they were doing. And let's not forget, dumbest weapon in the game.
Yeah, the weapons here, there are none that are universally as dominating as the Metal Blade. Notably, you get the Shadow Blade, which is like the Metal Blade if it sucked. It has a much shorter range and less ammo efficiency, and it's not as powerful. It's still omnidirectional, but yeah, it has some use. The magnet missiles are pretty cool. They're semi-homing, and the hard knuckle, despite its goofiness, is very powerful. And the Search Snakes are like the Bubble Lead 2.0. But there's some good weapons in there. And then you have the top spin, which is definitely a contender, if not the winner, for worst weapon in the entire goddamn series. I can maybe think of a few others that come close to its shittiness, but no, this one, I don't even know what they were thinking. You can only use the top spin while you're in mid-air, and it causes Mega Man to spin around, and ideally, he destroys enemies who run into him while he's spinning, which I don't understand how that even works. I guess it's supposed to kind of be like that jumping slash, spiral slash weapon from the first Ninja Gaiden, kind of, sort of. I'm comparing this to Ninja Gaiden a lot for some reason tonight. But, like, it doesn't work so hot. Like, its hitbox is janky, and notably the weapon that, the master it's supposed to be weak towards, it's Shadow Man, who is definitely one of the harder robot masters to fight. If you come at him the wrong way, which whatever way that is, I don't know, somehow you can drain all of your top spin weapon energy in a single bound, which I remember when I actually streamed this game for friends a few years ago. That happened to me both times I fucking fought Shadow Man, and then I had to resort to my Buster like a chump, and I think I died to him both times as well. Snarp says, if top spin made you invincible, only consume ammo in contact with an enemy, that might... Well, Snarp, it did only drain on contact with an enemy, if I'm not mistaken. It was my contact with Shadow Man that drained all of my energy, but now I'm thinking about it, I don't know exactly how it went. At any rate, the top spin is a very weird and awkward idea that ultimately just went poorly. They also say that you can kill the final boss with it, and you can, but it's honestly kind of awkward to set up. I just stick with the search snakes, which are the actual, like, honest, quote-unquote, way to defeat the final boss. It's pretty easy anyway, so... But yeah, top spin sucks. Power Stone in 5 really sucks too, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, so 3, though. That was a specific topic to dwell on because Rob wanted me to. And he got more than he bargained for, I'm sure.
Yeah, so in order to fit the rest of the games in, we may need to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
But can we at least acknowledge Rush, because he's in my Discord profile? So
of course.
Totally,
Rush,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about tropes that have become definitive parts of the games. Having a robotic dog companion is because of Mega Man 3. It wouldn't exist if it weren't for Rush in this game.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. Also, he's got a good name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it works without even having to worry about it being a musical pun. Like, you're rushing to go along to the beat, or he's rushing to your aid. Either way.
Or he's just named after Rush, and, like, on his off time he plays Tom Sawyer for Mega Man or something.
Yeah, you could just use Rush Jet to get over that river. Or the lesser-seen Rush Marine, which was only in a couple of other games before it was ditched, because there aren't too many parts that are full water, so it's kind of useless. But yes.
Rush
so
is
what
a
else
good
do we
boy.
have to... He is, yeah. So
He's
what
the best
else...
boy.
So what else does anyone else have to say about 3? Because I don't want to totally bogart the discussion. I do have a few other opinions I'd like to dispense about it, but yes.
I don't particularly like Mega Man 3. It's one of my least favorite games in the series. I just don't think it's all that good. I don't have anything specific to bring up. I find a lot of the stages to be tedious to play through, and I find that it kind of is bloated in its design compared to the previous 2 games, where on top of having the Robot Master stages, you also have the Doc Robot stages, and then the Wily stages on top of that. So I feel like it's too long for its own good. And like, I don't think it's outright terrible, but it's just not a Mega Man game that I like returning to personally.
All right, Snarb, Kate, high fives all around.
I'd like to hear from Steve first before I give my opinion.
I've always loved Mega Man 3. There have been times where I've put it on the same plateau as 2, and over the years I've knocked it down a little bit, but just because of the fact that it introduced an official companion, it introduced lore about Mega Man's history with the introduction of Proto Man slash Blues. Just, it felt like we were creating a whole universe around Mega Man, and I loved that fact that now we have all the manga and the comic books and the sequels that have all fleshed that out. But this, to me, is the primordial stew from which Mega Man as we know it is birthed. Like, 1 was the game where they were just figuring it out, and 2 was the game where they perfected the concepts, but 3 is the lore. And that's what I love about this game so much.
It's an interesting perspective. I never thought of it that way before.
That is actually a good point when you put it like that. This one really does feel like the one that sort of hammered in Mega Man's identity, worked out some of the weird bits in 2's presentation that now made this consistent with the rest of the series onward. And yeah, Rush and Proto Man for a while would be, well, not the only new characters introduced, but like the most major characters that would settle in for the next several games. The only one I could think of that made nearly as much of an impact was Bass in 7.
Did you just say Bass?
Oh my fucking god! God!
My.
Did I just... I don't believe it. Holy shit. Jesus fuck.
Slapping the bass.
Thank you, Getty.
These are all musical puns. It's bass, obviously.
But it's pronounced Bass in Mega Man 8's cutscenes. It must be true.
Those are the worst cutscenes that have ever been committed to audio, period.
Isn't that the one that also refers to Wily as Wowie?
Dr. Wowie.
We find that media. We'll find Dr. Wowie.
That's a good question.
Capcom is the last company that I would trust to know anything about Mega Man.
Real.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry about that. So, Bass in Mega Man 7 would be like the next most important character to stick around in the series, although 4 did introduce Dr. Cossack. Unfortunately, he didn't really stick around and be a major player, but yeah, I can see that about 3 being foundational with the series going on for its world. Definitely there's a lot of world building going on. But I'm sorry, Steve, but I do have to agree with Kate and Rob that... Okay, I will say I did really like 3 at some point, especially when I was younger. If not just for all of its visual flair and for the slide. There were times in the past when I thought I liked it even more than 2. However, this one, unfortunately, has the dubious mark of... getting worse every time I play it. For some reason, more and more foibles about this one stick out to me the more that I play on it. It does have some fun stage design, although weirdly it does have some stages that aren't really conducive with the Robot Master themes. Like the futuristic city that Needle Man takes place in doesn't really have much to do with needles. You think he'd be like in a cave full of stalagmites or whatever. And I don't know why Shadow Man's in some sort of industrial molten power plant or whatever. He's supposed to be a ninja. You'd expect like a, Japanese garden or mansion stage or whatever like that. And what's with Top Man's ganja farm? That's what I want to fucking know. He's great. I usually joke that it looks like Top Man's in some sort of like weed dispensary greenhouse or whatever, because they were obviously high when they made him and his fucking stupid weapon.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's the only thing. That being said, the Robot Master stages, even if they don't always match the theme, they are fun, pretty well designed for the most part. Lots of great music to go around. Like, I really like Magnet Man and Spark Man's themes in particular. And, it is really colorful and bright and whatnot, but the Robot Masters have You know what, Snarp? That is a good point. It could be that they were rushed and they couldn't fit all the themes, but also the stage themes may have been an oh no, the Robot Masters have taken over ordinary locations. It's possible. It's possible. Like the impression I got was that because this game was confirmed to have been really rushed to have been worked on, maybe that's why Rush got his name. Har har har. Like they only had like 6 months to get this one out, so not everything turned out the way they wanted it to. But I still think Mega Man 3 is fun up front. And then we get to the fucking Doc Robot levels and it all goes down to toilets. I hate the Doc Robots. They're fucking busted. Very lazy remixes of the levels that are more frustrating. Shadow Man's remix in particular and go fuck itself. And, it was, I guess, kind of novel that we brought back, wholesale the bosses from 2, but even it kind of felt like padding as well, and some of them were made more frustrating because the Doc Robot has a large body type. Woodman and Airman in particular are more bullshit to deal with. They're one of the most frustrating parts in any Mega Man game, and I do not like them. And then we come to Wily's Castle, and it's a huge, big, anticlimactic squash. The only one thing I really have trouble in there with is, the triple clone Mega Man, where 2 of them are bogus, and you have to try and hit the right one, and when I played that recently, I kept guessing the wrong one, and I couldn't hit him right, so that was frustrating. But, the castle otherwise is really easy, and then Gamma, the gigantic robot final boss, is just really an anticlimactically easy way to end it.
Oh, I know. When I found out you could just dump the snakes on his head and wipe him out, I was like, okay, that's great that it's easy, but also I wanted a challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Steve. That's it just felt like they did not put nearly as much thought into the back half of the game as they did the front half. And let's be real, the Wily stages or the Fortress stages or whatever you want to call them are no one's favorite part of any Mega Man game ever for the most part. But I don't hate them. Some of them I actually do like. Some of them definitely have more thought put into them than the others, but Mega Man 3's post Robot Master game is one of the worst, and it really kind of sours the game for me on replays, personally. I still like 3, it's just not my favorite anymore. I dare say it might be my least favorite of the NES games at this point, if that's not a hot take. I'm sorry.
I can't go least favorite, but it's definitely below 2. I will go that far.
Yeah. Yes, we can all agree 2 was better, if nothing else, on that one, and I'll give you that.
Okay, rein it in, Mike. Believe it or not, I have a couple of things to say about 3.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, first of all, I got to the Doc Robot stages when I first played the game way back when, and that was pretty much as far as I got.
Yeah, I
never did finish it. However, what had happened is that game was coming out, I think it was during the holiday season of 1990. And our younger brother Ryan really wanted it because we had originally started off collecting for NES, where I was going to collect the Mario games, he was going to collect the Zelda games. That changed. So he was now collecting the Mega Man games. I, on the other hand, was collecting the games, one of which, the sequel, was also making its debut during the holiday season of 1990. That was Castlevania 3. So, when I basically sat down and played them back to back once, and it's like, yeah, I'm glad I went with what I went with, because I'm just not feeling this Mega Man 3. I love 2, but 3 is just not doing it for me. Castlevania 3, on the other hand, holy shit, this is great.
Yep. Can't argue with that.
So, and yeah, I basically found it. I wasn't even really thinking about lore at the time, so, that didn't even enter the equation. But the other stuff, the negatives you brought up, that kind of aligns with exactly what I think.
Okay.
It's still a solid, pretty well-constructed game,
yeah,
the rest of them, but it's just not my cup of tea, and that's kind of where I just fell off with Mega Man. It was like, and then they started doing more of them, and I was just like, not feeling it. So that said, yeah.
Yeah. When you put it that way, that is understandable. A weaker link in the Mega Man series is still better than like 80-90% of action platformers on the NES,
Well,
arguably. But,
if someone gave me a choice, holding a gun to my head and say either play Mega Man 3 or play Muppet Adventure Chaos at the Carnival, be like, pop in Mega Man 3, please.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty one-sided deal. But yeah, when you put it that way, that's fair. Yeah. All right. I will say, though, I will definitely do my best not to spend as much time on the other games, because there's arguably less to say about the next 3, I would say. But I will say up front, I do like the next 3 games more than Mega Man 3. I'm sorry. Maybe not more than 2, but 4, 5, and 6, I think they're all pretty solid. If I may say.
Well, remember...
Mega Man 4. Go ahead.
Just remember, Mike, I'm standing over here just waiting for the right opportunity to...
If you have to, rein me in. That's fair.
I will. Now, Kate, you were saying?
The first 3 Mega Man games I played when I was a kid, but Mega Man 4 is one that I didn't get to until much, much later in time. And I do have to say that I'd often heard a lot of people describe Mega Man 4 on the internet as being a step down compared to the first 3, so that might have played a part in why I kind of avoided it. But honestly, when I finally got around to it, I ended up really liking it. I wouldn't necessarily call it my favorite Mega Man, but I definitely enjoy it more than 3, and I do think it has some neat things going on with it, like the introduction of the Mega Buster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the first one that allowed you to charge your shots, and considering that you've dealt with some beefier enemies, it was appreciated, like that giant snail in Toadman stage, for example. But
Toadman.
Yeah, this
Rockman is the easiest boss fight in the entire series, without a doubt.
He's a huge chump. Yeah, I always do his stage first. His stage can be a little challenging, especially actually the earliest part with the rain and wind blowing you back has a few tricky jumps in it. But Toadman himself is definitely a chump. If you just keep hitting him as he's doing his stupid little butt shake, he will never get his rain flush out, and then he'll pretty much be dead. So
before we get into that, why don't we talk about the story of 4? That I found to be kind of intriguing until the predictable what happened.
That's right. There's a little bit of a twist in this one. Kind of a reverse twist, let's say. But yeah, Mega Man, you actually see him without his helmet in the intro. He doesn't want to fight anymore, but then, buildings start blowing up, and it turns out a Russian scientist by the name of Dr. Cossack has let Robot Masters... his 8 Robot Masters loose into the city or whatever. This set is Toad, Bright, Pharaoh, Ring, Dust, Skull, Dive, and Drill Man. And, a new villain is rising up. It's like a whole new anime arc, it almost seems. Like, I really hate to make this comparison, but I guess back then, it could have been said that if Dr. Wily was Frieza, then Dr. Cossack would have been Cell. No, that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
Actually, given that his name is Dr. Cossack, I'm just wanting to make some kind of Yakov Smirnoff kind of joke, and I'm failing to come up with a good one.
Well, in Soviet Russia, a joke tells you.
You fight the robot.
There you go. Yeah, so it looked like a new villain for a new generation of Mega Man, except that Dr. Cossack's actually a good guy, and his Dr. Kalinka was... Oh yeah, Wily does kidnap Dr. Cossack's daughter, Kalinka. Why he never thought to do so with Roll, I have no idea, but unfortunately
Roll would kick his butt.
There you go.
She actually would, yeah. She cave his skull in with her awesome broom powers. She's actually very good at wielding that thing. But yeah, poor Kalinka mostly. I like her design; is actually pretty cute. But she mostly just exists to get damseled, and I think she was playable in like the board game spin-off. But then she and her dad pretty much disappeared. So Proto Man saves Kalinka. Dr. Cossack apologizes for everything, and then Dr. Wily is the bad guy again.
Predictable.
Yeah.
But
then
here's a question for you regarding Kalinka.
Yes.
Did you ever play the puzzle game Gorby's Pipeline?
I've heard of it. I've seen it. I'm not sure if I've played as it, but yeah. And yes, Snar, but Toadman's sewer level is actually really cool. I got to agree.
Gorby's Pipeline is kind of like Tetris meets Pipe Dream, but you have a little girl in traditional Russian dress who's directing the pieces to come down. She's got 2 flags. She's waving them around. And they look a lot alike. Now, granted, Gorby's Pipeline was by Compile. So.
That's right. But yeah, even despite the predictable twist and the fact that Wily would, for better or worse, pretty much be the reigning major villain of the classic series forever from here on out. Mega Man usually hasn't been... I like Mega Man's lore, but like its actual story beats... you're mostly not there for the story. You're there for the cool levels and bosses, and 4 does have some very cool levels. Like, I like the gimmick in Brightman stage where there are those flying Bulbabots that black out the stage if you destroy them, but then there are the firework bots that bring the lights back on. And then there's those weird slinky disappearing platforms in Ringman's stage. Skullman's stage is very thoroughly committed to its gimmick. You have Sniper Joes now dressed like skeletons throwing bones at you, which is wackily delightful. Dustman's stage is fantastically morbid. It has a depressing music track, and it's implied to be some sort of robot graveyard, and you have to avoid these giant crushers going down on you. I think 4's level design is really level and robot design is really solid, and it's one of the overall better arsenals as well. You get some pretty powerful stuff to work with, especially the Pharaoh shot.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
The Pharaoh shot is pretty OP. You can power it up at any time.
Yes, it's like the atomic fire from Heatman combined with the metal blade, except that the atomic fire kind of sucked. The Pharaoh shot's much better with that, and it doesn't waste your energy as heavily. And
the fun thing is, if you die while you're charging it up, it stays on the screen even after you're dead.
Yeah, that is a good point. Actually, something that you can do is that when Mega Man's holding it above his head, that can hit an enemy, and then he can also fire off the charged shot for like double damage efficiency, which is pretty freaking wicked.
Now,
but I also like the
OP. It's just ridiculous.
But then you have the homing dive missiles, the exploding drill bombs, the all-screen encompassing rain flush, and other such cool shit. So
also, Pharaoh Man is the coolest looking boss in that game.
Has to be one of the worst power names ever. Like, did they go to like Mr. Clean or 2000 Flushes and go, give us a name for a Mega Man weapon? Rain Flush. Good, we'll take it.
I guess it doesn't help that Toadman is a sewer level, although as Snarb said, it is a really nice looking sewer level. And yes, as Rob has said, this is the game that has Pharaoh Man, who is just a really cool concept and is staged very thoroughly, commits to the Egyptian pyramid theme, because a lot of games in the action games in the 90s had Egyptian themes to them for some reason. But I really like this one quite a bit, especially the mummy robots who come out from behind walls and spin their heads off at you, which is just such a bonkers detail. I love it. I even don't mind the fortress levels in this one so much. I think it's one of the more competent back halves of the game, so to speak. Although it did start a somewhat annoying gimmick for the next 2 games that you had to get through 2 fortresses, one for the fake villain and then one for Wily. But I don't mind that in so much in this one. It's a little more content, maybe it drags it out, but it doesn't feel feel nearly as much like blatant padding as the Doc Robot stages did. There's actually more originality in them and some pretty neat bosses to take on. And also, the second Cossack theme is one of the best musics in the series. That's a really fucking good one. But, what else can or should we say about 4? I do think it's solid, although, like, for better or worse, I think it hammered out maybe too many rough edges from the first 3, and it kind of made the sequel trilogy, quote-unquote, as I call it, a little bit more standardized. Like, 5 and 6 almost feel like expansion packs to 4. But I do really like all 3 of those games, so I'm not sure if this is necessarily a bad thing. I'm not sure. I'm really not.
Good question.
Yeah.
I kind
Kate,
of agree
Steve,
with that.
Okay.
Now, I've only played 4 a handful of times. I mean, I can play it whenever I want, but I don't usually, and that's mainly because of my falling out with Mega Man after 3.
Well, I will say I can see why 3 detracted your opinion, but I think 4 is a more solid game than 3, so it might be worth another look. If it doesn't register with you, then it doesn't. But
I've
I'll just say,
tried to play it again numerous times, and
oh, okay,
same thing
Oh.
every time.
no worries. Then it is what it is.
Yeah.
But
Again,
I don't know.
Solid and well-constructed game, though.
I'm just going to ascribe the Marge Potato Maxim to 4. I just think it's neat.
That works.
I think the iterative nature of Mega Man sequels means that if you're really hooked on Mega Man design and you want to play more Mega Man and just keep playing more Mega Man, then you're going to have a lot to enjoy in that regard. But if you want to play like a game and then you want to try out a variety of games, like I think as I've gotten older, I'm finding myself more interested in checking out like unique experiences and playing like maybe one-off games or games across a variety of series. So in that regard, playing more and more Mega Man feels kind of like just doing the same thing over and over again, even if it is with unique stages and boss fights and whatnot, because the overall experience is largely the same.
Now, I will say there is one game, even games that are a lot like Mega Man, I don't usually get into, with one exception, and that was the Cryon Conquest.
Oh, yeah. She is Francesca.
Yes. I actually prefer the Japanese versions as it has more content. But, even as stripped down as the American one was, and they really did do a good job of stripping it down for whatever reason. Yeah, the cutscenes were minimized. I think the ending was taken out completely.
I think they gave you limited continues too, or they made it harder than Magical Doropi in some way that I didn't like.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, I like Doropi much better. But
yeah.
I would actually put that up there with Mega Man 1 and 2 for me.
That's fair. It is. I haven't played Crane Conquest / Magical Doropi nearly enough, but I do like how much Doropi / Francesca's sprite almost practically looks like a redraw of Mega Man. It's kind of ridiculous. Although she can actually crouch. Mega Man can't do that for some weird reason.
But he can slide and she can't.
Yeah, that is double weird. She can also, she's like a robot witch or whatever, and she can, maybe she's not a robot, I don't know. Well, she can ride a broom kind of like Rush, but if we're, but yeah, it's a pretty good game. I can't say I love it more than most Mega Man titles, but yeah, Doropi ain't bad. Snarb mentioned Totally Rad, though, and I have a very soft spot for that one. I never actually really thought of it as a Mega Man clone, but I can see a few points of design where it's similar now that you mention it.
I will say
Mega Man.
I prefer the Japanese name for Totally Rad. Magic John.
Rob, have I ever mentioned to you that I think Magic John sounds like the name of a sex toy?
Why do you think I like it better? It
sounds
sounds
like the name
hilarious.
of an adult establishment. Come to Magic John's.
Exactly.
That's why I like it better.
Exactly.
The potential comedic, stuff in that name.
It's just a very silly name, yes.
Exactly.
Although
Oh,
I
Mega Man 5.
Oh yeah. Well, first, Steve, did you have anything else to say about Mega Man 4?
I would just say that the point was made. It was an iterative game, and for me, that was right up my alley because I was so hooked by this point. I was like, "Yeah, give me more of the same thing." It's like, am I going to complain about getting to do another Mega Man experience? Hell no, I'm not.
Yes, that's a fair way of looking at it. And that is what I mean, I obviously can't get enough Mega Man for as much as I chugged down over this recent week, and thus, rolling from Mega Man 4 into Mega Man 5, I was not tired of the series yet for as much as I was hammering them down. 5 is definitely the most iterative at this point, let's say. Like, it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, it just attempts to be a pretty solid game on its own. Although it does have the premise of Proto Man apparently going rogue and even going so far as to Dr. Nap Dr. Light. So Dr. Light gets damseled, but Roll doesn't. That's very interesting. I guess this is also, like, kind of weird that, like, Proto Man's quote-unquote apparently evil now because, of course, he's a villain in the Ruby Spears cartoon. I don't know if Capcom was thinking about that when they made this game, but Mega Man's got some more Robot Masters to fight to defeat his brother, ? And rescue Dr. Light. The set for this one is Wave, Star, Gravity, Gyro, Crystal, Napalm, Stone, and Charge Man. I am actually looking at the screen this time because I don't want to waste too much time at this point, but yeah, so where to go with 5? Snarv is saying that he thinks it's his favorite NES Mega Man, it has some really fun stages. My brother also really likes this installment a lot, too. I also really like 5, but I don't think I like it more than 4 and 6. It feels a little rougher around the edges in some regards, for reasons I can't exactly quantify, but it's still a good game, I would say. And yes, Charge Man is fun. He's a robot master who looks like a train, and his stage is a giant train. I appreciate them committing to that gimmick as thoroughly as they do.
That stage gets really silly with how you run into robot mice that crawl around, and also robot chickens that lay robot eggs or like baby chicks.
Yes. I really like that enemy. Yeah, you have some increasingly unhinged and silly enemy designs. Like, you fight a mid-boss in Wave Band stage on a jet ski, like the first pointed vehicle segment in the entire series, before Mega Man X really ran with those. And you have to shoot this giant octopus mid-boss in its glowing forehead or whatever. And yeah, there are lots of really crazy... you fight tiger robots in Napalm Man stage for some reason. They're very powerful. They're jerks.
Always felt bad about. I'm exterminating a beautiful creature.
Yeah. Capcom had something Capcom had something against tigers around this time because you had to fight and kill mad tigers in Knights of the Round. Also, one of their arcade beat 'em ups. But, and then we have the Crystal Joes now, who form crystals as defense in front of them before they fire them off. And then you have these weird, walker robots who look a little, not a lot, but remind me a little bit of the AT-STs from Star Wars for some reason. Interesting enemy designs, very interesting stage designs. Like, Gravity Man takes a page out of the third level of Strider and actually does flip your gravity around at several points.
I always got kind of a Metal Storm vibe from that. Isn't that the NES game where you also flip the gravity and you walk on the ceiling and the floor?
Yep.
Yes, it is. I fucking love Metal Storm.
Metal Storm is good.
It's so good, yes. And not uncoincidentally, Gravity Man is probably my favorite stage out of these, but there's a lot of other good ones, like Gyro Man with that big-ass elevator, Wave Man with the aforementioned jet ski. Starman is very spacey with
Floaty.
its... Yes, no gravity, very, very low gravity in that one. Crystal Man stage is kind of a pain in the ass with those somewhat arbitrary crystal dropping thingies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Although the Star Crash, the shield weapon in this game, can actually absorb at least one of them. So I found out. So that will make do Starman stage first before you go to Crystal Man. It's a very nice looking stage, I will say that, but. Well, that one's a little bit of pain. Lots of really cool stage design all around. I think Stone Man's stage is a little lame, but 7 out of 8 great ones ain't bad. And then you get to Proto Man's castle, which has a helmet shaped like him, and then you fight the Dark Man robots, no relation to the Liam Neeson movie.
Also, no relation to DMX, the Dark Man X.
Oh, that's what that stands for. I never knew that. Huh.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. All right, well, shit, R.I.P. too. Damn.
Yeah, R.I.P. old friends.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, it turns out also that Proto Man, quote unquote, was actually one of the Dark Man robots. So he was bogus. The real Proto Man shows up to clear his name. And yes, the Dark Men were built by Dr. Wily, who once again is the main villain. Basically doing the same thing he did in 4, where now you have to go to his castle and kick his ass.
Big surprise. Yeah, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I know. Can you believe it? There is at least
I know.
one.
Can you believe it?
I get Kate. Fluffy. Before I eat a tall slice of marmalade, I drink lots of fluffy puppies.
Oh, I can't take it anymore.
But 5 doesn't have like much in like the Charge Buster is like the last major iteration for Mega Man in 4. 5 makes his Buster larger, but it doesn't change too much about him otherwise, except for the fact that he does get a new companion, the robot bird Beat, who pecks Robot's eyes out if you manage to get a letter that spells Mega Man V in every stage. Some of them are like a little bit more of a pain in the ass to reach than others. If you miss the one in Wave Man's level, you pretty much have to do the stage over again, which is why I start on Wave Man. But aside from that, Beat isn't really in so much of a game changer, but I always thought he was pretty cute. And he's good at taking out Wily's capsule at the end, so there is that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes. So I think 5 is just a mild step back from 4 in design. It feels a little less solidly put together. I remember there's like a blind drop in Wily's stage where if you don't know which end not to go off of, you will instantly land on spikes. And I always thought that was really cheap for Mega Man standards. Like I can't think of any other game that really does that quite like that. But that's kind of a nitpick, even if it does annoy me. Nonetheless, I still do like 5 a lot, but we are certainly seeing the formula be as conservative as the Dragon Quest series at this point, for better or worse. I don't want to put down 5, though. I still think it's pretty cool.
I do feel there's definitely rigidity at this point. They had found a formula and they were going to stick to it no matter what, which, again, I loved, but I can also have the perspective of I can understand why Capcom did not have the faith to release Mega Man 6 by themselves in the US and had to get Nintendo to put it out for them because they realized, yeah, everybody knows it's the same shit. We're not going to convince anybody it's new at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair way of putting it.
All I can really say about 5 is I think it's a solid and well-constructed game, and I had about the same experience as I did with 4.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate, any other words you want to give about 5?
There is one particular oddity not with Mega Man 5 itself, but with the Mega Man Legacy Collection, specifically the 3DS version. If you try and play Mega Man 5 in the 3DS version of the Mega Man Legacy Collection, then the frame rate is really terrible. It just constantly runs at a poor frame rate, and it's a very choppy unstable experience. And
That's a
no other
shame.
games in the 3DS version have that issue. And oddly enough, if you play the Japanese ROM, Rockman 5, that doesn't have that issue. It's only with the North American Mega Man 5 ROM that that issue is present in that 3DS collection. It's very bizarre.
Oh, that's weird.
That is very weird when you put it that way.
As far as Mega Man 5 specifically, I've not actually finished it. I have played it before, but I never got super far in it. It seemed fine from what I played of it.
Yeah, it is a pretty solid game all in all. I couldn't tell you if it's anyone's favorite Mega Man, but I have seen a lot more love for it lately than I used to. And yeah, even if I love 4 more, 5 is still pretty damn good. And so is 6, although I guess for its time it was also put down for, like, at this point, okay, perspective for 6, as Steve mentioned, Capcom wasn't sure about releasing it themselves, so Nintendo licensed it instead. Not only was the NES very much thoroughly in its twilight phase at this point. It was 1993. The SNES had been out for 2 years or so at this point, and it was now the gold standard and priority for Nintendo's own design philosophies at this point, and the companies that danced around them as well. And also, by that token, 1993 was the year that Mega Man X came out, and that was the new hotness. So 6 was seeming a little stale in comparison to its 16-bit brother there. That
6
go ahead.
6 was actually the second Classic Series game. Well, I think I might have played Mega Man 7 before 6, but 6 was the second Classic Series game that I owned. So I actually put a decent amount of time into 6 myself. So
Nice.
I did think it was pretty solid. I never finished it. I beat all the Robot Masters, but never got past the first Fortress stage. And it's kind of interesting to compare the Mega Man series going from 1 to 6, because at least in terms of graphical capability and art direction, the later games definitely really make a graphical showpiece for what you can do with the hardware, and they have more advanced mapper chips than what was available with the original Mega Man, so it's pretty neat to see in that regard.
Yeah.
You know, on that subject, I do want to say I appreciate the continuity in the actual Mega Man sprite for 1 through 6.
Oh. Yep.
They never changed it.
Yeah, pretty much. I barely got much for new animations. I remember he had this weird looking up sprite in 4 because he could get this like somewhat Bionic Commando-esque wire adapter in there that was weird and wasn't used again after the series, but he had a fat little chin as he looked up, and I always thought that sprite looked adorable. But yeah, for the most part, since the slide was established, he hasn't had too much new sprite work, and he still works really well as he does. Like with SNK using their sprites a lot throughout the King of Fighters series and being efficient with that. So I may call it lazy, but no, I think asset reuse is sometimes actually, pretty clever. If it helps, they already have some things to start on base with, and if it helps the game get made faster without having to cut corners, then I say, go for it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes,
and
exactly.
if it's a beloved property, then people are going to love to see it.
Yep.
That's another good point. But as it were, for 6, the theme this time was that there's a robot fighting tournament. So this is the anime-ass tournament arc. They finally did it at this point. Where several robots from around the world come together to show off who is the strongest. There are 8 finalists, as it were. They each come from different countries, so there's also like an international flavoring with this one. And these 8 finalists are then taken by the contest sponsor, a elder gentleman by the name of quote-unquote Mr. X, who wants to take over the world, and it says he was apparently behind Wily all along from out of nowhere, despite the fact that he kind of looks like Dr. Wily. How about... He wasn't even fucking trying at this point. It's reached parody by now.
He just threw on a pair of sunglasses and called himself Mr. X.
Yeah, and a beard instead of his mustache, but like it's they're the same picture, like that one meme from The Office, practically.
Dr.
Like
Wily, is that you?
He didn't even have a proxy like Dr. Cossack or the fake Proto Man this time. He just built 2 whole ass fortresses for himself to use. It's a kind of insane dedication, but, like, you know, it is just... Like I said, it's practically its own parody at this point, but, you know, plot is what it is. Again, I do like the international theming of the Robot Masters, even if a couple of them might be a little dicey by modern standards. Yeah. But for this run, we have Flame, Blizzard, Plant, Tomahawk, Yamato, Knight, Centaur, and Windman. I think Yamato's like another name for Japan. I guess they thought that sounded cool, like Spearman or Samurai Man. So,
Yamato Man can be literally like Japan Man or the people of Japan Man.
Yes.
But he's not a space battleship.
Yeah, I thought that it sounded like tomato as a kid, actually. But,
one thing that's interesting about Mega Man boss designs is I'm pretty sure a lot of the older games would use Robot Master designs that fans submitted in Japan.
Yeah, there's a whole wiki dedicated to the fans sending in their submissions, and they got special prizes if they were chosen as the winners. Like Rockman 4 had a gold cartridge that Robot Master designers received as a prize.
Nice. And so Mega Man 6 in particular actually has a couple Robot Master submissions that made it in from outside of Japan. I think those were Nightman and Windman, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think it was Yeah, that sounds right.
So that's pretty cool. And it kind of fits with the international Robot Master competition theme.
Yeah, funny enough, I think this was around the same time that an American designer had one of their characters picked to be in Super Street Fighter 2, that being DJ. So Capcom was recognizing their international audience at this point, and I thought that was a pretty neat nod to do for the fans who have been supporting the series, supporting them well so far. Capcom, for a while, felt like they had a better rapport with their consumer base than other companies did. And then that fell off a cliff like around 2010, but I'm not going to get into that.
Well, it's just too bad at the time they didn't listen to our demands for more Strider. But go on.
Quick note of lore, Nightman's designer was Daniel Valley, and Windman's designer was Michael Leader.
Right. I remember there was an issue of Nintendo Power that showed off a lot of sketches for potential fan designs. That I think there was a glue woman at some point. They had a few female designs, and it wouldn't, of course, be until way in the future of Mega Man 9 that they would actually have one. But better late than never, I suppose. Yeah, so 6, like 4 and 5, just really solid. Some really cool stages. Like, you know, Yamato Man is like an actual Japanese castle feeling stage. This is like what Shadow Man stage should have been. Blizzard Man, of course, takes place in like a snowy... it's some sort of snowy base where there's like an actual submarine that's going up and down you gotta deal with, and Centaur takes place in like flooded Grecian ruins, which reminds me of the Sunken Palace level from Castlevania 3. I really like Tomahawk Man's Western theme stage. It has actual cowboy bots shooting at you. I do maybe think Tomahawk Man's design himself as a Native American warrior might be towing the line a little bit for modern PC standards and whatnot. Although he does give you the best weapon in the game, arguably, so that kind of maybe makes up for... No, that's a stupid thing to say.
Of course, we're also not talking about modern PC standards. We're talking about 1993.
Yeah, this was more acceptable. I just wish his robot synthetic skin tone was a little darker is all. I think he looks like a white guy as a Native American reenactor at some sort of shitty Civil War, whatever. No, wait.
Consider this, Mike.
Yes.
At least they didn't go full Sunset Riders with them.
Yeah. Tomahawk Man, I think, is actually... Yeah, you know what, Snarb? That is a good point. They could have done Cowboy Man. That is true, and that would have been a little more disingenuous. I'm surprised there wasn't really a Cowboy Man to come later in the series, but... Well, it is kind of... I'm mixed. I think he is kind of cool, but also kind of iffy, but I've spent too much time whinging on him. Flame Man also, with his turban and his Arabian oil baron theme, is also kind of iffy, but 6 out of 8 ain't bad as far as standards and practices are concerned.
Well, I also think we have to keep in mind that Japan's idea of political correctness and ours are nothing alike.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Hence Sunset Riders, as Rob mentioned, there weren't any American-made games at the time that had anyone saying, okay, I'm not going to say
also, that. let's perhaps it would be best not to mention Square's Tom Sawyer, but I'm doing it anyway.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. Holy shit. Yeah. Terrible. Gross, even. Like
that was Jesus. Japan, though.
Yeah. I think bad character... go ahead, Kate.
I think my favorite thing about Mega Man 6 is the armor adapters that Rush can get. I really like the Jet one in particular. It's really fun to jet around.
Didn't it make the cover?
Rush's help. Yeah, it made the cover, at least the North American cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was indeed the most unique thing about 6. I think it was something that made it more unique over 5 than what 5 had over 4. Instead of having the Rush Coil and Jet in this game, after you beat Flame Man, you get the Rush Power Adapter suit, and after you beat Plant Man, you get the Rush Jet Adapter. Rush, instead of being a good dog tool, is now instead a freaking anime mech combination thingy who now fuses with Mega Man and gives him one of two forms. The Power Adapter, which gives him strong punches instead of his arm cannon and allows him to break crumbly bricks with a charged punch, which always feels really cool to do. And he can also, I think, destroy some enemies who are shielded with the charge punch, which is really neat. And the Jet Adapter, which you can't slide or charge your Buster, but you can make jet. You do now have basically Rush as a jetpack, which requires no weapon energy. There's a meter to indicate how much you can use at once. Basically, you jump, you hold A, and you go up a fair deal. It can save your ass from spiky gaps. It can reach places very easily, and again, without having to spend weapon energy, and the Jet Adapter is busted. It is so broken, and I fucking love it. It's just... It makes, even if some of the Mr. X / Dr. Wily stages feel like they're somewhat built around what you can do with them, they still make them kind of easy to use that way. And, hey there, Video Game Doc. Welcome to our Mega Man stream.
Yes,
welcome to the stream.
We are I am rambling about 6 and its really cool Rush adapter suits now, and they're my favorite thing about 6.
Yeah.
I also have a pretty decent arsenal too. I forgot to mention that 5's arsenal was not great. The Power Stone and the Charge Kick especially sucked. 6 is somewhat better, although I think you have like 3 or so weapons that just fly like straight forward, and that's kind of really all they do. Although my memory's being a little rusty, but they're not bad at least. But yeah, once again, 6 is very much built upon the similar bones of 4 and 5. There are like a couple of innovations in there, like a few some stages that have fake robot masters, and you need to take the path of more resistance to reach the real one. And if you reach the real ones, and that's how you get to unlock a beat in this game as well. But
hey, also zombies here.
And hey there, Zombie. Welcome to the Mega Man stream. I am currently rambling about 6 at this point.
Welcome, Zombie.
But yeah, while the power and jet suits were really cool, and I think they help push 6 a little bit above 5 for me, 6 also feels pretty easy by Mega Man standards. Like, maybe Dr. Wily's just really running out of steam, but I thought the X Fortress levels were kind of and his own Fortress stages were also sort of The final fight against Wily is arguably one of the easiest in the series, and it's not lacking for challenge necessarily. It just feels like at this point that it's maybe because the jet suit's so busted that it's a little easier to deal with than the normal Mega Man game. Like, the only really challenging bit I remember from the Fortress stages was the second X boss, but besides that, yeah, it might be a little bit overtly easy. Also, hey, Mr. X is Wily, and after you beat what seems to be him, you go to actual Dr. Wily's legacy. He wasn't even fucking trying again.
Nope.
But yeah, I like 6 a lot. This one has also seen more love among the fan base lately. But I can see why I think people were starting to get a little bit tired of the classic formula at this point, all the same. And like I said, Mega Man X didn't help also. That was like the new hotness at the time. So it is what it is.
So that kind of sums up Mega Man 6 in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah, I suppose so. Steve or Kate or Rob, if you have anything you want to add on about 6... for better or worse, go ahead.
Sure. I think it's a solid, well-constructed game, and I had about the same experience that I did with 4 and 5.
That's the spirit.
I think one thing that's worth pointing out with Mega Man 6 is that at the end of the game, Wily actually does get captured by Mega Man, and then that leads into Mega Man 7's plot.
That is a very good point, yes. Wily is essentially finally beaten. In 4 and 5, he managed to escape, but no, this time, no, he actually goes to legitimate jail. I was wondering, actually in the back of my mind, if they intended to legitimately end the classic series on that note, and then just focus entirely on the X series from then on out.
Didn't it end with it to be continued?
Oh, wait, did it? Hang on, let me see.
Sure.
Oh, son of a bitch, you're right. Okay, well, fuck that then. The classic series will never die, and I am very okay with that. But yeah, at this point, the classic series, the NES was now effectively dead. It officially was decommissioned in 1994. No new games were made for it afterward. And while the X series was going on strong on the SNES at this time, they also decided to, for whatever reason, make a classic game for the SNES as well. And like Kate said, 7... What?
Mike?
Yeah,
but before we get into that... first of all, Steve, Kate, you have anything else to say about 6?
I would
Nothing
say,
really.
I would just note it was like when I started collecting box complete editions of the Mega Man games, like late 90s, 6 was easily the first one I could pick up that wasn't like, a ridiculous amount. It was like $5 or $10. I mean, I wish we could go back to when prices were like that.
That would be
Yeah.
nice.
I do actually have a complete copy of Mega Man 6. It's one of the only NES games that I have with the box and manual.
I'm pretty sure I do too. I remember actually my grandfather actually like helped me find it at some sort of retailer because I just really wanted to play it. So I do have an authentic copy. I'm pretty sure it still has the box and manual. I guess I'd have to check. It's been a while, but
All I can really say is I have a complete copy of Rockman 2.
that's cool.
As do I.
Nice. But I still don't want to get into Mega Man 7 just yet.
Okay.
Well, for one thing, there were a couple other things before Mega Man left the NES, or, well, the Famicom anyway. There was that Wily and Light's Rock Board game, which...
I have absolutely no comment on that one.
It was a board game featuring Mega Man characters. That's about all I can tell you.
Yep.
And two, at the height of Mega Man's popularity, there was a little something else going on, which I could sum up like this. Mega High.
Oh, did you have to bring this up, man? Did
yes,
you?
I
mean,
did.
I mentioned the Ruby Spears cartoon in passing. Can't we just go for that, please?
No.
Captain N exists whether we want it to or not, and the Simon Belmont portrayal is equally as bad as the Mega Man, so it's not like we got screwed, they got screwed too.
Yep. And they didn't really do Kid Icarus any favors either.
They got screwed a kiss.
Yeah, no, they really didn't. Exactly. That's terrible.
One of my friends pointed out that possibly the only character to come off good in the entire Captain and the Game Master series is the Eggplant Wizard. And I watched a video of Eggplant, and I'm like, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the only one who was thoroughly exactly like how he was in the NES for whatever little personality we could glean for him, which is kind of impressive because he's a mook. He's like an elite mook, but he's not even a full-on boss. I always found that weird. He is probably the most infamous enemy from Kid Icarus, though, but yeah, it's strange. I mean, they made King Hippo blue, they made Mother Brain a weird, stretchy cheese thingy, which was gross looking and voiced by Levi Stubbs. Somehow, I don't know how the fuck they did that.
Snarb brought up a very interesting point about the color changes.
Okay, that is actually very interesting. I never knew that before. The reason he's green is that the artist working on the show played Mega Man on a busted TV. Yeah, I mean, okay, fair, actually, but, it's... I don't know. I have only ever fully seen...
The color palettes on the NES weren't very well defined anyway, which is why you have emulators with, a different color palette for whatever your TV was like compared to everybody else's.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Some shades of red show up as purple or whatever on different emulators, depending. It's pretty interesting how that lack of standardization has led to different perspectives, but I don't mind the color so much as the mega fact that he added mega to every mega word he kept fucking mega saying. Fuck.
It drives me mega insane every mega time I watch the mega show.
Egg fucking mega exactly.
And, I have to wonder about that myself, Zombie, because the comic book version of Samus was pretty bad.
What? Oh, Jesus. Do I want to know?
If I remember correctly, she was competing with the princess for Kevin's affections.
Oh, no, that is not Samus. Bogus. Fuck off. That is... Do not chick a fire like that. She is a badass warrior woman raised by space birds to be the ultimate bounty hunter for the galaxy. And she does not have time or need for romance, god damn it.
They gave her a chick-fication.
Not to mention, you can play the entire first game on NES, and unless you beat it in under an hour, you'd never even know she was a woman at all.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
The manual did actually refer to Samus as a dude, so whether or not that was a mistake or a deliberate, covering of of the mystery there, I don't know.
Well, it was enough
Or
that
just poor translation from Japanese to English.
whatever it was enough that when they
Possible.
were actually planning a Metroid cartoon series, Samus was going to be a dude.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Glad we didn't get that, to be honest, I hate to say. The Super Mario Brothers
Romanticus.
shows were actually not bad. Well, okay, maybe the one with the little caveman turd was not the best, but...
Hey,
but-
paisanos!
It's just a
yeah, the Super-
show.
Exactly. Something, you'll be hooked on the brothers, do the Mario. If you do drugs, you'll go to hell and you'll die, says
See,
Captain
that's
Lou
what I love
Albano.
about it, because I was a pro wrestling fan as a kid, and the fact that Captain Lou Albano was Mario just made my day.
That was actually really inspired casting, I gotta say.
Yeah. Anyway, though, enough on that. Let's go on to Mega Man 7.
Yes,
I
yes.
love
indeed.
Mega Man 7.
I also love Mega Man 7.
I think it's a solid, well-constructed game, and I had about the same experience as I did with 4, 5, and 6.
I mean, there is something to be said about it being the first Super NES game in the series.
Yes. It looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, we know where, sorry, Steve, you were saying something about 7?
Oh, it's just that it's weird that it comes out after the X games. I mean, it's canonically after 6, but it's in terms of year of release, it's anything but.
Yeah, no, at least the first 2 X games were released. I think this one was released somewhat concurrently to X3, if I'm not mistaken.
X3 was 1996 and 7 was 97.
90. Oh, what? Wait, it was that late?
No,
Oh.
Oh, wait, no,
7 was not
95.
97.
I'm sorry. 8 was 97. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries. 7 was. I'm getting my fucking numbers juggled up. I want to say 7 was 95, was it? Hang on, let me see this.
Yeah, 7
I mean-
is 95.
A lot of them came out like a year or so after their Japanese releases, so that's worth taking into account.
This
That
is
is another
true.
good point, yes.
I think
But
7 landed
anyway.
about the same time as Final Fight 3 did.
Oh, yeah, that was also 95. Yeah, pretty good year for Capcom on the SNES, as it were.
One thing that I do want to lead off with that I only learned very recently myself. So I know development times in general for games could be a lot shorter back in the 90s or 80s compared to what they are in present day. But
Oh, yeah.
Mega Man 7's development time, I learned, was only 3 months long.
That's less.
insane.
I think that's
And-
less than Mega Man 3. That's bonkers.
And that's especially wild when you consider that it was the first entry on a new system, so they could not reuse assets like they did for the previous several sequels. So they did all of that in 3 months.
The crunch had to be hell. They had to
Oh,
be
yeah.
living, eating, and sleeping in the office at Capcom around the
Yeah.
clock.
They probably just had to be taking a lot of pep pills. The concept of sleep was not an option.
Well, if they would
I
have,
do,
it would have been Trucker's Choice. We know that.
Pep
I
Boy
do
pills,
have
they
to
were
say
so-
that, like, Mega Man 7, I wouldn't necessarily call it perfect, but I do think it gets a lot of things right, and it's one of my favorites in the series, and the fact that they did all of that in 3 months in a way kind of... Like, I do think the fact that they were rushing and crunching is unfortunate, but the fact that they pulled all of that off in 3 months, I do think is worth commemorating.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Totally.
think some of that actually shows up in the game in some of the comic beats and the whimsy that they have in some of the dialogue. Like, okay, if we have to do this as fast as we have to do it, we're going to have some fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that little bit in the beginning where Otto... Oh yeah, Otto's introduced in this game. He gives Mega Man a Met helmet, and Mega Man is just like, dude, really? But then he gives his actual him. He's like, I kind of like the other one. That's a cute little
That's
thing,
exactly what I mean. You can tell they were given this deadline and they were just, oh well, heck with it. We're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, there's a definite sense of whimsy about Mega Man 7's overall art design that it's just a really freaking colorful game, and more expressionate now that we have the enhanced graphics and sound to work with. Seriously,
no longer limited to 13 colors on the screen at one time. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
I really like Mega Man's new sprite in Mega Man 7. I especially like how whenever he's charging his shot, he holds his buster out in buster form, like he's aiming it, and I think that's so badass. I really like it.
Now,
yeah,
I
definitely.
do have a legitimate question here, because I honestly can't remember when it happened. When was Flip Top introduced?
Oh, Mega Man 4.
Eddie?
That is his real name, Eddie.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I think Flip Top was actually something that was just invented for the American manuals, but his official name is Eddie, which I think means something in Japanese that I forget which, but whatever you want to call him, Flip Top or Eddie, 4 was when he was introduced.
Yeah, I think we forgot to mention him.
We did. Fuck. I like that little guy. He's cute.
Yeah.
But,
Back on 7.
But yeah. Yes, back in 7. Interestingly, 7 actually had you only be able to face off against 4 Robot Masters to start. That being Burst, Cloud, Junk, and Freeze. But then after you beat them and fight a mid-boss, which is this weird bouncy clown at the Robot Museum, I don't know how better to put it. You then get to fight the other half, which were Slash, Spring, Shade, and Turbo Man. So very cool designs in there. I'm especially fond of Shade Man. He's just a straight up fucking robot vampire. I don't know how that works because you obviously can't get blood out of a robot. I guess he's an oil vampire. I don't fucking know.
Wait, I remember something. Isn't that
what's up?
The boss whose stage you can actually change into the Ghouls and Ghosts theme?
That is the one. Yes, exactly. And it also has the actual robot zombies coming out of robot coffins that I think were a nod to the zombies from Super Ghouls and Ghosts who had the coffins rise out. So, nice little wink and a nod, intercompany, not like a full-on crossover, but, an acknowledgement. And you also fought a giant pumpkin jack-o'-lantern mid-boss in that stage, because why not? Yeah, it's like there's also this really badass portrait of Dr. Wily who looks kind of like Dracula in that level. I just really like Shane Man in his stage a lot, but there's some other like really cool stuff, like Junk Man also being like a straight up scrapyard, kind of like Dust Man's, but even more vivid. Cloud Man with the weather changing robots that if you hit them with Freeze Man's Freeze Cracker, you'd actually get snow falling on those invisible platforms to detect them, which is a really nice touch. And Slash Man, which is like Slash Man's stage is just straight up fucking Jurassic Park. And you can also commit a forest fire to rescue Beat for some reason. I don't know how that works, but it is what it is.
Only you can prevent forest fires, or in this case, start them to rescue Beat.
Yes. Beat actually is more defensive in this game. He doesn't attack enemies, but he does save your ass if you go down a death pit, which is a really nice touch. I'm glad he did.
There's quite a lot of hidden stuff in this game. Like, there are multiple hidden encounters with Proto Man, which culminates in an optional boss fight against Proto Man, and then if you defeat him, you can then equip his shield, which lets you use the Mega Buster, except you now have a shield, so that can protect you against projectiles, and that's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that is really neat. Yes, you can also get the... If you collect the letters Rush in the first half of the Robot Masters, you actually get to use the Rush Super Adapter, which actually combines the functionality of the Power and Jet suits from Mega Man 6. It modifies them somewhat. Your jet's now more like a conventional double jump, although it has a forward angle up to it, but it is really useful for some platforming bits. And now your charge punch is now a straight up rocket fist, which flies out. And you can even get the super expensive power up to make it a homing punch as well. I should also mention that this game gives you the shop, wherein you can find bolts from enemies and within the stages that act as currency, which you then give to Otto, and he can give you bonus lives and energy tanks or some more permanent upgrades, like the energy balancer and the aforementioned Hyper Fist and so forth. This is not actually the first game to feature the shop. That was actually introduced in the 4th Game Boy game. Yeah. And 4 and 5 had that before 7 did, but I'm not sure if we'll have as much time to talk about the Game Boy games, but yes.
We're probably going to skip the Game Boy games completely tonight.
Yeah.
We might have to, yeah. It is what it is. No worries.
Considering we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games to cover and about 40 minutes to do it in.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did feel that 7 was... Kate, were you going to say something, by the way?
I was just going to bring up that this wasn't the first instance of the shop, but you did bring that up. And also, this game introduces a rival for Mega Man in the form of the previously aforementioned bass and his dog Treble.
Yes, bass like the guitar, not the fish. Yeah, that's like first grade, confusing Star Wars for Star Trek bullshit. I'm ashamed. I really am. But
it's okay. Yeah. No one is going to hold it against you, Mike.
Not like Capcom didn't do it themselves with the next game.
That is a very good point, yes. But yes,
Capcom.
But yeah, bass and treble. Actually, there's some ambiguity as to what basses deal with at first. At first, he seems like a slightly confused robot who's actually a victim of Dr. Wily's rampage. Until the twist happens that, Mega Man takes him in to Dr. Light's lab to repair him because he's a good guy. Except that Bass is an asshole who trashes Dr. Light's lab, and it turns out that Wily built him to be the strongest rival that Mega Man has faced yet, and he's actually a little bit of a psychopath who has a very kind of abusive father relationship with Wily from this place. It's, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to whinge too much in the dynamics, but dang, Bass just gets no fucking respect. I can kind of understand why he has such a stick up his ass, but, at the same time, he's also a big jerk. You actually do have to fight him twice in the Wily Fortress, and he's pretty tough the first time. The second time, he actually fuses with his dog Treble to do like what you do with the Rush Super Adapter suit, and then he's flying around doing his own rocket punches and whatnot. But yeah, Sharon, I'm not sure what you mean by that. The Mega Man games, for the most part, have been on home consoles. Oh, the Game Boy. Okay, I gotcha. Although Mega Man did actually come to the arcade with the Power Battle and Fighters games. I'm not sure we can really spend much time on those, but
all I'm going to say about those is that they're great.
They are very fun, yes. They're like Mega Man distilled down to their absolute essences. Kind of like if they were like a combination between a fighting game and a boss rush, sort of. But, yeah, I like them quite a bit. I should have played them before this. I mean, I have played them before, but I mean, like, this week when I was playing all the main games.
There are some other interesting hidden things in Mega Man 7 as well. Like,
yes.
There's a specific password that you can input that lets you actually start with all 8 Robot Masters selectable. Although that does skip the intro stage and also the museum stage. So that's an option if you feel inclined. And there's also the hidden versus mode against Bass.
Yes! I almost forgot about that. That's bonkers. There is a specific password if you enter that will put Mega Man and Bass into an arena, like almost like a kind of prototype Smash Brothers arena almost, now that I think
Yeah.
about it. Foreshadowing for the very far future, I wonder. But yeah, you can plug in a second controller. Player 1 gets to play Mega Man, player 2 gets to play bass, and you can not only do you fight, like, control conventionally as well, but they also have a couple of actual legitimate super moves. Like, Mega Man can throw out this crescent projectile, and he can treat his slide kind of like a crouching low kick in some Street Fighter games, and Bass has this, like, upward kick that's like Cammy's cannon spike, and he sort of has a moves that's like Bison's Psycho Crusher, so they're definitely taking some influence from Street Fighter at this point. I almost forgot about that mode. That is so cool. I wish you could actually play as more characters, but I wonder if that informed what the power battle and the power fighters would have been like. I don't know.
Maybe.
They were released more or less around the same time, but yeah.
There is one unfortunate thing about Mega Man 7's localization that I only learned recently myself, is that
Oh?
the Japanese version, when you defeated a robot master, there would be like a cute little skit that would sometimes feature characters like Roll in it, but in the North American localization, you just have Mega Man having a simple conversation with Dr. Light about what the weapon does. So I do think that's a downgrade. There is
No, 7 had a roll sprite? I never fucking knew that. No, I'm sad.
it's in the intro, but
Oh wait,
my
no, she
point
is in
is-
the. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Right. Sorry.
my
go on.
point is that there is, I don't know if you would call it a ROM hack or a translation patch, but there is a way to play that in English and be able to see those scenes as they were intended. I need to get around to trying that myself, because that sounds really awesome.
I need to do that as well. It does sound really cool. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much more time 7 since we're kind of getting crunch here, but I did want to mention two things. One, the Rush search is really adorable. Rush can actually dig up items like a good
I
boy.
love that.
It is is like the only game that has that functionality, and it is not only so cute, but there are a few specific spots where if you dig, you get like some sort of permanent power up, or you get like a really huge bolt or whatever, or like there are a few actual legitimate secrets to dig up. But that is really neat.
Dr. Wily.
And yes, that is the second thing I was going to mention. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So I think the Dr. Wily ditches the whole double fortress thing they had going for the last 3 stages. He only has 4 stages this time, but they are tough. It feels like he actually put his whole ass into making them. They have some really hard bosses. They're actually pretty neatly designed, I think. Well, the first 3 anyway. The 4th one's just the straightforward boss rush, of course. But it is one of the better Wily fortresses in the entire series. And then we get to Dr. Wily himself, and his Wily machine is kind of pathetic. It just jumps around a lot while he sends mini versions of it, but he didn't have time to equip like an actual cannon on it or whatever, which is kind of weird. But that's immaterial, because after you destroy that, there's then the Wily capsule fight, which is the most bullshit boss fight in the entire series, or at least a very good candidate for it. He just keeps firing these 4 staggered homing shots, as I call them, that fly towards your position twice before they then fly off the screen. They are very hard to dodge, and some of them can freeze or burn you for extra damage. I have seen some people say that if you can't avoid the shots, you should at least try and get hit by one of the yellow electric shots, because that's the least punishing one to get hit by. And he takes ages to kill him, because the only weapon that does 2 units of damage to him is the charged wild coil. Otherwise, he's not even in range of that all of the time. And it is one of the most infamously reviled boss fights in the series history. And I had a lot of difficulty with it as a kid. I still need as many E-tanks as I can get, although this game dropped it from 9 back down to 4, unfortunately. So, yeah, I mean, you feel like you really earn your victory here, and Wily is rather easy in the past game or two, but They went fucking overboard in this one, and I hear it is because of the crunch development time. This is apocryphal, but because of the crunch development time, they didn't have really good amount of time to properly test out the finale against Wily. So that's why the first phase is really easy, and the second phase is really, really hard. So, but you do get really cool ending music out of it. So there is that. All right, I guess I
Mega Man threatens to kill Wily.
There is that too, yes. He doesn't do that again. He just kind of finally has it, but then he hesitates, and then he's just looking kind of grumbly as he walks away from the burning explosion of the Wily Fortress. And it's a very somber note to go out on. The somberest that it went out on since 2, I think. But, yeah, I really, really like 7. It feels like that they took a few lessons from the X series and put more shit in it as a result, and I think it worked out for the best. There are some people who think, like, 7 stabbed their mom or something. Like, some people really hate this game, and I don't fucking understand that, because it's one of my favorites in the series, so deal with it.
I love it.
I think some people are just completely opposed to the comedic note. It just bothers them that they didn't take it as seriously, and they hate it for that.
Yeah, well, it has one of the darkest endings to offset that, so fart on those people, I say. But you might have a point. Anyway.
So
8?
Hold it.
It is unintentional comedy. It's comedy for all the wrong reasons.
Before we move into 8, I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
Mega Man Soccer sure exists.
I tried to play that yesterday. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. As soon as the enemy scored a goal against me, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I genuinely keep forgetting that Mega Man Soccer exists.
Yeah, it actually does.
Well, even Capcom has forgotten because they've never included it in any of the collections.
Yeah, it's even for spin-off standards, it's considered a very pithy entry from what I gather.
Yep.
Zombie apparently likes it. Maybe there are like actual Mega Man Soccer tournaments held in underground localities that I don't know about, and if that is the case, more power to you. But
the one thing that I know about Mega Man Soccer is that apparently in its original retail release, it was impossible to get an ending in it. And apparently there is an ending in the game that you can
Yeah, you have to use the password to get it.
A password? Wow.
Yeah, like with the Game Genie, you have to enter it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you have to hack the game.
Anyway, it sure was a game. So moving on to 8.
Yes,
Can I interject real quick? This is the only game I actually own any like design document or artwork from. I have an animation cell from Mega Man 8, and happy as I am about that, I'm also kind of like, wow, I picked this game to own a piece of.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
That is really neat, I think. But Kate and or Steve, I'm going to let you talk about 8 first, because my thoughts are admittedly a little more mixed on this one. I'm going to be honest.
And you guys might be shorter than Mike because we're we're crunched now.
Want to go for it, Steve?
Sure. Whoever decided to do the English voice acting was obviously, and I'm not trying to shame them for it, not proficient in the English language, because their attempts to pronounce English words were so far off base. I would rather hear it in Japanese. This is one of those cases where it's like watching anime. Like, give me the Japanese with English subtitles because it just sounds better. And holy shit. I mean, it's funny, but it shouldn't be as funny as it is. It's just really... And, like, did they not play it back and hear how it sounded? Did they not have, like, any Americans listen to it and hear how it sounded? Like, somebody somewhere should have done some quality reassurance on this.
So what you're saying is that "Die, monster, you don't belong in this world" is like Shakespeare in comparison.
I mean, yeah, I think that delivery is really good.
Every single bit of Castlevania's cheesy, what is a man? Like, I'll take that any day over this.
Fair bingus. Kate, you're saying something?
I think the voice acting in Symphony of the Night is generally or genuinely pretty good.
I
It's not even remotely comparable to Mega Man 8.
I don't think it's I don't think it's bad. Richter's voice is kind of hammy, but outside of that, yeah, no, it's not bad. I think.
You steal men's
Um,
souls and make them your slaves.
yeah, that line is particularly goofy in question. I will give credit where it's due. The guy who was playing Dr. Wily in this one wasn't bad. He at least seemed like he understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I'm pretty sure that some of them were just like people from The Office who weren't professional voice actors in any sense whatsoever. So, but yeah, so yeah, but yeah.
Have
Steve, any comment on the game itself outside of the voice acting?
Oh, I find it to be, if you want to consider 1 through 11 the classics, it's my least favorite of the classics because
Oh,
it really moves slowly at times, and then other times it moves way too fast, and that is a specific reference to jump, jump, slide, slide, jump, slide. It's, oh god, I hate that. It's the bane of my existence every single time I play Mega Man 8. I cannot wait to get through it, and it drives me bonkers.
I don't love Frostman's stage. I don't.
I
um,
have kind of weird mixed feelings about Mega Man 8. I think I probably appreciate it a little bit more in retrospect than I did as a kid, but it's still one of my least favorite games in the series. I think part of it is that the presentation is very weird. Like, technically speaking, the animation of the sprites is really impressive, and there's a lot going on with this game. It's a real graphical showpiece as far as 2D games on the PlayStation or the Saturn are concerned. But personally, I do dislike the way that Mega Man looks in this game and also sounds. He looks like a he looks way too squishy and bouncy. He looks like he doesn't look like a robot. He just looks kind of like a chew toy.
Hmm.
And
And
the way
and
that
he
he
sounds
jumps,
like a Mega Boy, not a Mega Man.
I mean there's that, but I'm talking about like when you jump in the older games, you hear like a robotic clack, like a did it. But when you jump in Mega Man 8, you hear a squish sound effect, like what? And I just don't like it. It doesn't fit for me.
Agreed.
all right. And Rob, I take it you don't have a lot to say about it yourself.
I only played it once. That was on that Mega Man Anniversary Collection.
Right.
It did
Right.
not click with me one bit.
I do have a couple things to bring up since I slightly mentioned it. This
Please
is
do,
the
yeah.
first Mega Man game that did not come out initially on a Nintendo system. I think
Yeah.
It's
I
true.
think it came out maybe at least in Japan, first on the PlayStation, and then later got ported to Saturn or something like that. But
I
either
believe
way,
so.
the Saturn version in particular has a couple additional hidden boss fights with
Yeah,
Cutman and Woodman, and that's
Yeah,
really, really cool.
that is neat.
yeah.
And
I
they even have
specifically
remixes
sought
of their.
out this. Go. Sorry. Go ahead.
They even have remixes of their stage themes when you fight them, which is really neat. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Steve, you want to say?
Oh, I was just going to say when I started collecting all the games in the 90s, somebody pointed that out to me, and I immediately imported the game just so I could play those two stages.
Nice.
Nice, very good. All
Anyway.
right, so yeah,
Mega
so
Man.
not
Mega Man
Yep,
is Mega
go
Man
ahead,
8, I guess.
yeah, so not a lot of love for 8, and I got to admit I don't love it either. I probably like it more the most out of this group. There are some things in it that I do find pretty cool, like now, like the shop in this one. The bolts are now more limited and rarer to get. You don't just get them from enemies, but they give you like really neat permanent upgrades. Like one that changes your charge buster to like a penetrative laser or an arrow shot or whatever. There's one that actually reduces your charge time, which is I think the most expensive one, and obviously so. There's one that makes you climb ladders faster. So there's that, Rob. I'm not
Always
kidding.
a
It
plus.
actually exists. Yes.
So-
Yeah.
I was gonna say at this point, I think we've all said what can be said about Mega Man 8.
Not necessarily.
Well, we
No,
could
no.
say
will make
more,
it-
but we could go ahead and just run out the rest of the stream with it.
I was thinking at this point, maybe we're not even going to get to finish all the classic games, but yeah, I did want to say a couple things about A itself. Its Robot Masters being Tengu, Clown, Grenade, Frost, Aqua, the Sword, Search, and Astro. Yes, there's an Aquaman, so they ripped off DC like the first game ripped off Iceman with Marvel, so there is that. But yeah, the stages I think in this one are more elaborate, to be sure, but I think they kind of go overboard with their gimmicks. Like Tengu Man stage, you actually have a stage where you kind of a shmup segment with Rush, which is kind of slow, and like Mega Man isn't really a shmup, so I don't know, it feels more tedious than engaging to me. Frostman's the one with those fucking jump, slide bits, and then the first Wily stage is that, but even worse. Swordman's level, like, has you go through these ruins that force you to do these, like, mini trials with the weapons that you got from the first half. I think it's somewhat novel, but also at the same time just makes the level feel longer. There's this really annoying mid-boss in Aquaman's level where he keeps destroying these log platforms you're on, and it's really hard to avoid him. He's always in your face, and he sucks. And Astro Man stage... Oh, what's that?
I really like that Mega Man 8 gives you two separate fire buttons, one which is mapped to your special weapon if you have one equipped, and one that always fires the Mega Buster.
Yes, I do like that. They are at least taking advantage of the extra face buttons that you have, which 7 didn't even do, even if 7 did have the shoulder button quick switch, which this game also does have. So that is at least neat. But, the stages, like I said, I think they get kind of up their ass with their own gimmicks, and it's a lot more hit and miss as a result. I especially hate Astro Man's stage, which forces you to go through these two kind of like infinite scrolling mazes or whatever. I don't know how to describe them, but they're kind of like these... They remind me a little bit of Metal Storm, but like nowhere near as good. With some of the stage design, you don't even have the gravity flipping. And then Wily's Castle is really weird because the first stage has an even worse version of the jump slide, and then it's got some pretty iffy platforming with the Thunderclaw and a really weird bullshit gimmick boss. And then the rest of the fortress is kind of easy. Like, Wily himself actually puts up a good fight in this one, and not as bullshit as MM7's were, but I don't know. Other than that, something about the back end of this game feels a little anticlimactic and floaty, and yeah, I don't know what it is with this game, but I think it gets a little too weird by Mega Man standards. I mean, Mega Man can actually swim in this one. What the fuck's up with that? He wasn't able to do that before. Why does he have that functionality?
Upgrade.
I'm just being weird now.
Also,
I guess this is an upgrade.
The way you keep saying jump, slide, all I got in my head now is this. Chop, dig. Chop, dig.
I hear digging, but I don't hear chopping.
Elaboration, there are jet ski sections where you're on like a snowboard that has a jet attached to it, and there will be points where the screen is auto-scrolling really quickly, and in order to let the player know what to do without copious trial and error, they have the jump, slide things on screen. So that's what that's about.
You have these warnings. You have these warning signs that actually say jump, or slide that warn you that there's going to be a gap or a low overhead that you need to jump or slide to get by.
To me,
And
that's just
sometimes
indicative of poor design. Like, if that was the only way they could alert the player, then they obviously didn't do a good job to make the level in the first place.
that's actually a fair point.
Maybe.
And I'm going to go one step farther and say this. The fucking jump, jump, slide, slide parts, they feel more like something out of Battletoads than Mega Man, and I mean that as derogatorily as possible.
But I'll take it that way, and I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
What? That was the most scathing thing I've said this goddamn stream. Wow.
I have one tiny thing to mention. Duo exists.
Yeah, Duo. I mean, this game's plot was about some sort of evil energy, and like Duo, some sort of like space cop
Alien
tracking
robot.
that down, and he's got a cool design, but like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about him. He was a playable character in the Power Fighter, so that's something. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. I just don't love 8 that much. It just feels too out there by Mega Man standards, and like, fuck them for trying to break from the formula, right? Except, no, I think this one gets a little too far away from the formula, not in a good way. I still like it. I will still play it. I still have fun with it. It's just this isn't the first game I think of when I think of Mega Man, and it probably won't be most other people's. So, shrug. That's all I got.
Jarring the tonal shifts between the animated segments and the artist's rendered computer segments. It's like, no, if you're gonna go with animations, make it like Super Adventure Rockman on the PS1. Like, if that's what you want to do that. Do a whole game of that. Don't have us flip flop back and forth.
A nod to the FMV adventure. I unfortunately have not played that one, but it seems pretty cool from what I have seen of it. All right. Here, I'm gonna step in front at this point though, and say that if we want to keep the stream lean, we are running out of time, and I'm not sure what we should do.
Mega Man 9.
If you want to go right into 9, okay, I can do that.
Or we can
Nine's
talk
really
about
cool.
Rockman and Forte.
I mean, I do love Rockman and Forte. I actually finally beat that game for the first time recently.
Also,
It's
hey, Tristan.
basically...
And hey, Tristan, what's up?
Welcome.
Yeah.
So, Rockman and Forte, or as it would later be released in English as Mega Man and Bass, is kind of an interesting release because it came out after Mega Man 8. Yeah, it was released for the Super Famicom instead of the PlayStation and the Saturn. And it was intended as basically a stopgap release for kids who still had previous gen hardware so that they could play a new Mega Man game. And it has an art style, like it reuses a lot of art assets from Mega Man 8, but it renders them with slightly fewer colors so that they work on Super NES hardware. And it also is notoriously difficult, and I personally love it. It's also the first game that I ever imported, so I have fond feelings for it.
Makes sense.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
See, you got any comment in MMNB here?
I would, only thing I could add on top of that is that the existence of the Game Boy Advance game made me appreciate the imported Super Famicom game that much more because the screen crunch is ridiculous.
Yeah, that is considered a rather poor port by modern standards, I believe.
Also, I just got to say something to Sharon here. Expert 74 is Kate, Sharon.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So, yep, no worries. But yes, I definitely see some mixed results about this game. That some say it's too bullshittingly hard and not in a fun way, while some do appreciate the extra leg of challenge and think that it does have some really neat stage design and some cool weapons to spare as well. Interestingly enough, it actually takes over Tengu Man and Astro Man from Mega Man 8, although you get new weapons out of them. The remaining the other ones are all new. That would be Cold Burner Pirate, Ground Magic, and Dynamo Man, who's a fucking cheater, and I hate him. But I have been a little bit up and down on Mega Man and Bass over the years. For a while, I actually considered it my least favorite game in the series because I kind of dreaded the idea of replaying it for whatever reason after I had beaten it initially. But I am glad that I had my Super Mega Man Marathon over the week prior to this show and that I deigned to actually go back and play this one because I ended up finding a newfound appreciation for it. This one's level design feels more conducive to how Mega Man usually is in my mind compared to 8. Like, it does certainly have some level gimmicks to it, but the levels themselves feel a little bit leaner and more straightforward, more easy to deal with. It doesn't get up its own ass with some of the weirder things. There's no jump, slide bullshit. There's nothing that I would really compare to Battletoads in this one. Dynamo Man cheats. Like I said, he can actually heal himself and actually pretty quickly after you get enough of his life down. Burner Man can also be a little bit of a pain in the ass, but going back to it, I do find that maybe the difficulty of MMB is a little overstated. Like, it's more manageable than I remember it being. Although I should give the caveat that I was playing as Bass in my recent replay, and he is arguably a lot easier than Mega Man to use in this one because he has a double jump and a dash, which gets him around everywhere more.
Bass is kind of awkward to play as. Like, on paper, he sounds really cool because he has a double jump and a dash, which would be from the Mega Man X games, like that kind of dash, and also a multi-directional firing button. But the fact that he's rooted in place when he fires makes it really not fit well with his high degree of movement. So that's something that you kind of have to juggle when playing as Bass.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Mega Man does certainly have his own advantages, and he does generally deal easier with bosses because his charge shot is certainly useful, especially since some of the weaknesses in this one are a little harder to exploit than in other games. But, yeah, while this game... I did really enjoy my recent playthrough of Bass, and I will certainly consider giving another one with Mega Man himself to see if it's really that much more difficult to actually win with, but I'm going to say it probably won't be. Really, the most agonizing thing about this game is how they infamously decided to just have 3 fortress stages instead of 4, but to compensate, they made the second one really, really long, and it has like 4 boss fights in it, and they're all really hard. Especially that one that has where you have to keep jumping on a bunch of platforms that it can sometimes destroy beneath you. The floating jet
total bullshit. Yeah.
That is one of the worst bosses in the series, I hate to say. I know some people don't like this term, but I really don't know what else to call it besides quote-unquote fake difficulty. I'm sorry. But I did stock up on lives from Auto's shop, at least before going in. It's not unbeatable, it just is pretty frustrating, and I really wish they would have broken King's Stage 2.
We should move on to Mega Man 9.
But, yeah, I like Mega Man Bass a lot more than I thought I would replaying it, and yeah, it's worth checking out. So, Mega Man 9.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, real quick, I always considered Mega Man and Bass to be just kind of the end of the series before it was picked up years later and continued on with 9.
Yeah. No, it pretty was for the much was for the classic series for the most part. Yeah. Until like a decade later, Capcom decided to revive the classic series. First on Wii, but then I believe it made it over to other systems of the time, and they brought back Mega Man, more so modeled in his 8-bit style for what is now known as 9. I know that that was a little bit of a controversial decision for some people, but they realized that like 7 and especially 8, for as much as I like 7 by the way, but they did probably feel a little bit too weird to the public, and they kind of got away from Mega Man's roots, so they decided to make 9 very much more conducive to the NES game's graphical style and all. And the result was, in my opinion, a really goddamn good game. But go ahead, Kate.
I have slightly mixed feelings about Mega Man 9. I generally really love Mega Man 9, and it feels a lot like Mega Man 2 in particular, thanks to not having the charge or the slide. And I do think it's a really solid game with incredible level design, some of my favorite levels in the series.
Same.
But my one minor complaint is that I really love the art style in Mega Man 7, so going back to the NES games art, it's not terrible, but I do prefer the Super NES art.
Yeah, I really do like how Mega Man 7 works. I think I can understand why they went back to the classic style, but I do have a little bit... I also have a little bit of mixed thoughts. Like, I don't know if it was possible for them to kind of cut a compromise between a graphical style that was sort of a split between the two. Like, I don't know, can we go 12-bit or whatever? But, like, maybe they threw back a little too far into the nostalgia hole for this one, for better or worse. But while stylistically... go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's not even my biggest complaint. Mine is that they introduced the concept of not getting the game when you get the game. And by that, I mean they microtransacted us to death, that if you wanted all of the extra content, you had to keep buying the DLC. It's like, can't I just pay one price and have the whole game? If you're going to do a throwback Mega Man game, we didn't have to pay microtransactions to get everything in Mega Man 2.
This is true.
Well, I'm not going to blame the game so much for that self as I'm going to blame the entire 7th generation of video gaming, which is my least favorite generation of video gaming. And there are a lot of things that were bad in that generation that really kind of marred the entire fucking medium for me for a while, and Kate kind of gets on my case if I get really out of hand. I will pipe down. That is another discussion. Yeah, sorry. But that is another discussion for another day.
So I have a question.
What's up?
Kate, isn't 9 where your avatar is from?
It is. Mega Man 9 is the first game in the series to actually have a female boss that you can fight, and that is Splash Woman.
Yes, she's a mermaid. She's a robot mermaid. She's awesome. I love
her. She's cool.
Yes. Whole songs have been written in her honor. Check out Mega Ran's song about Splash Woman. It's great.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, besides her, the rest of them are men, unfortunately. She's unfortunately the only official one. 10 and 11 went back on that to being Robo Sausage Fest, which I'm kind of miffed about. But besides Splash Woman, there's Concrete, Galaxy, Jewel, Plug Man, Tornado, Magma, and Hornet Man. This is one based off of Insect. I like his design too. Yeah, while 9 was intended to be as throwbacky as it was, I do agree with Kate. It's got some great level design, some great boss design, and it is just really well crafted and feels like it takes a lot of good things from the series design all throughout the years. It's like the guys who did this, Into Creates, they really did their homework on making this one. And while I can't necessarily say it, I mean, for a while I considered this my favorite game in the series. I think now I go back and say that's probably still 2 at this point. But 9 is just really fucking solid. It also has, pound for pound, the best arsenal in the series. Like, almost every weapon in this one is powerful and useful somehow. The Black Hole Bomb can fucking eat up Mets while they're shielded. That's bonkers. The Jewel Satellite's the best shield weapon. I don't think we have
time to go into all that. We've got like 3 minutes.
But you did make a great point that I wanted to make, is that it's like the introductory game. Like, if you've never played any of the other games in the series, start with 9 because it's the most beginner friendly. With the power of the weapons and the
Yes.
stage designs, it's great. It's a perfect way to introduce it to somebody who's never played Mega Man before.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you. We might have to go a little bit overtime if we want to get into 10, 11, but 9 rules, I really like it. 10 rules less, I don't like it as much. In fact, I like it not the greatest.
And
I tried
Sharon,
the demo.
let me just say, Sharon, we're not talking about Mega Man Legends tonight. We got way too much to cover still while going into those games.
I would love to discuss Legends, and so would Kate at least, but yeah we're not going to be able to do that tonight. I'm sorry.
Might have to be a future stream for that one.
Yep.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I tried
So-
the demo for Mega Man 10, and I didn't find it very engaging. I never played the full game.
Yeah. See, do you have anything to say about 10?
Well, since we're running out of time, I'll keep it really brief and say that I feel it had all the things that I like about Mega Man 9, but it just wasn't as good as 9. I'll just leave it at that.
I completely agree with you. I think it's like 9 B-sides, basically, and almost none of it is as good. They don't even have a female robot master this time. It felt like really diminishing returns, to say the least. Like, for as much as I love the sequel trilogy, this is finally the game that makes me think that Mega Man has run its formula out a little too much. Like, I don't know. 10, it's got some decent ideas. I like Strike Man's sports theme stage. I'm not even going to bother to recount all of them this time. But, like, its arsenal is a lot worse than 9's. Its stage design is kind of flatter. The balance is a little more off. Like, on normal, it's overall easier and less engaging, but there's also a hard difficulty, and if you go to that, then it is maybe overall harder than 9 and feels less balanced in that. I know for a fact the Robot Masters themselves are kind of more bullshit to deal with. And, like, even the music, like, 9 had some excellent tracks. 10's music really does feel kind of like a step back overall. The Wily Castle, I think, has some of the better ideas overall. Like, the Weapons Archives boss was really neat, but yeah, I mean, we're kind of crunched. I will give 10 this. It does have Sheep Man, who is one of the most interestingly novel robot masters of the series. Like, not only is he adorable, but instead of taking place in like some sort of like Swiss pasture farm area, his stage is entirely a computer cyber world where mouse cursors drag squares across to fling at you. I'm not kidding. It's an actual enemy design and it's hilarious. And this is thought of to be an esoteric nod to the Philip K. Dick novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Because he is literally an electric sheep that fires electricity at you. And that's why his stage is all cyberpunky and whatnot, or like what the idea of what the internet would have looked like to a 80s speculative fiction novelist or whatever. It is definitely one of the highlights of the game, absolutely. And I wish that and Strike Man's stage... like those are some stages that have some actual ingenuity in them. Sadly, much of the rest of the game doesn't really match up to them that much. I think Nitro Man's kind of cool, but like otherwise, yeah, 10 just feels like diminishing returns compared to 9. And while I don't hate it, it's also just kind of one of the most games to me. Like I don't really have a lot to say about it. It just is what it is.
10 just proves why they had to change the formula for 11. They really had worn it out.
Yes, and we are going a little over time, so I won't spend too much more on 11, but, well...
I know 11 exists.
Yes. After 10, Mega Man went into a quiet period involving some bullshit drama that I really don't want to get into. But then it got revived 8 years later with Mega Man 11, which I actually like quite a bit outside of 2 big swinging caveats, but... yeah, 11 does feel like it brings back a good deal of the ingenuity that 10 was lacking, even though it partly rides or dies on its new major gimmick, which is the double gear system, which allows Mega Man to activate the speed gear, which slows time down for him for several seconds, or the power gear, which makes his Mega Buster more powerful and more rapid, and also changes the properties of the Robot Master weapon, so it's kind of a lot like the weapons from Mega Man X when he gets the arm parts and those, which I thought was really neat. But before I go much farther, Steve, K, do you have anything to say about 11?
I tried the demo for Mega Man 11. It seems kind of odd. I didn't really get into it, but it did at least seem a little more interesting to me than Mega Man 10. I do want to try and play the full game eventually, someday.
Yes. I would say it is very much worth it. Steve?
I think my favorite thing about 11 is the art style. It's like a nod, an homage to the Mega Man games of yore, but with a reimagined visual aesthetic for modern times. And I can see both the new fluidity of the cartoon style, and I still see the Mega Man I know in that style. And I love the fact they were able to capture both.
Yeah, this is what I wish 9 and 10 would have looked like, more or less, if only that could have been done in time. I'm not sure if anyone can make a remake of them in this style, but yeah, no, I really like how it looks too. And any comments on the gameplay, though?
I mean, is it my favorite of the classic series, as we're calling it? No,
It's not mine either.
I would still put it above, 8 and probably 10, but I don't know that I could go much higher than that.
I definitely put it above 8 and 10. I might even put it above 3, hot take. There is actually quite a bit I do like about 11. It has the most logical chain of weapons, I think, ever in the series. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, if you actually use your noodle, then what works actually should work where they work. And there's some really cool level design overall, like Bounce Man looks like one of those like adventure play places or whatever that you thought was the coolest thing as a kid. They even have a bit in the background which looks like those multicolored rock climbing walls or whatever. Torchman stage is it's not the expected fire stage so much as it is a forest which then gets set on fire as you go through. It's like a campground or whatever, and then just like a giant blaze wall just eats everything, and that's not what I would have expected for the fire stage actually. And then Blast Man's in this adventure theme park or whatever. It's really cool and all that. There is a lot of cool stage design. Some people have said that the stages maybe go on a little bit too long compared to past games, but I don't mind it in so much, although punishment for losing all your lives does maybe feel a little harder to take. But even if the stages are bigger, I don't necessarily mind that. I think there's a lot of cool stuff to be had in there. And
I almost think they had to make the stages bigger because they were making a game for modern game consoles. So if they made them like they were on 9 and 10 or the classic games before that, people would have been like, why am I paying $30, $40 for this?
Makes sense.
Well, it is interesting that you mentioned that, unfortunately, because that leads me to one of my two huge complaints with the game. But, I mean, before I mention that, just like, 11 does a lot right. I like the weapons. I do like the new aesthetics and whatnot. And it really puts its all into the stages. Every single stage has a mid-boss now, which wasn't the case before, which I really find interesting. And and the double gear system I actually do like, but you can also very much it's not it's helpful in several places, but it's not 100% necessary most of the time. You do in fact get an achievement for beating the game if you don't activate the gears at all. No gear playthrough is lauded as such.
Wow.
And there's a lot of cool stuff going into 11. However, I have to dock off some major points because one, this is probably the least remarkable soundtrack in the entire series, perhaps even over 8. The instrumentation is weedy, and only 2 or 3 tracks were good and or memorable to me. The rest, I don't know. The sound design just kind of felt like it was sleeping, and while I don't normally sledge so much points off of games for weak sound design, it's the fucking Mega Man series. It should have a great soundtrack. So that it doesn't is maybe that's being nitpicky, but I don't know. That just kind of irks me quite a bit. The other the other thing is much more conducive to the gameplay. This is easily the worst Wily Fortress ever. The first two stages are actually fairly competent, but then the third stage is just the boss rush, and the fourth stage is just the fight against Wily. It feels you don't even get four fortress bosses. You only get 3 total. It feels much more blatantly like they ran out of time and budget in this one, and it really does feel unfinished. It's like they put so much into the robot stages up front that they just really dropped the ball when it came to the end game, and that really disappoints me, I gotta say. Yeah, like that. So, Steve, while I do agree that, yeah, the retail for the larger stages up front is justified, I do wish that they would have given us a more actual third fortress stage. It just feels a little more anticlimactic, even if Wily puts up a decent fight. But yeah, I think 11's pretty good. It nags me how somewhat unfinished it feels in the long run. It's 90% of a good game. I just wish that extra 10 was there. So yeah. Alright, well, we went 9 minutes over time. Sorry about that if you were hoping to go home to your families, but that is the major classic series in a nutshell.
Well,
so yeah.
So I'm going to step back in as my role of host here. Mike, you're not allowed to take point in any more streams from now on.
This is what happens when you... I mean, what did you expect, man? I tried, but I failed. I'm sorry.
You did a valiant effort, and you did.
Yes.
You definitely took your notes. You had a lot to deliver us with regard to information about the games. I do appreciate it. It's very informative. I actually learned a lot, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm just busting your chops anyway, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I'm great at being passionate. I'm not great at being efficient, but what you see is what you get with me.
Oh my gosh.
I honestly think Mike could take my title as Mr. Mega Man fan. I feel like he knows as much or more than I do.
Oh, geez. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I mean,
high praise.
Wow. I just am really meticulously obsessed over this series. What can I say? Like I said, there's so much more that we could talk about. I was hoping to get to the Game Boy games, but we obviously can't do that now. But
yeah, even though it technically does fall under the umbrella of the classic series in that regard, because it does feature the original Mega Man.
Yeah, I did especially want to talk about the 5th and final one. That one's special, but
and they didn't even mention Rockman Battle and Chase.
Yeah, actually, I don't think I've ever played that one, so I'm not like the ultimatist Mega Man fan in the world. I guess I'll turn in my card when I can, but yeah, no,
okay,
I just
get back then.
womp womp. But yeah, I do really like this series just so much. It is very dear to me. I can talk about it infinitely, and I would like to maybe have another one where we discuss the games we didn't get to and get into the X series, even if I don't think I'm as knowledgeable on the X and Zero games, even if I have beaten all of them. But yeah.
I'm going to have to think on that one because I know virtually nothing about the Game Boy games or Mega Man X. I would have even less to say than I did tonight.
And I think we would need a whole entirely separate stream if we did the Battle Network games.
I know.
The Battle Network series, I have played absolutely zero about, so Steve, you still have your title. Battle Network's actually a huge weak spot of mine. I keep meaning to at least get around to the first one. As a kid, I thought they were kind of stupid because Mega Man's trying to rip off Pokemon now? This isn't my Mega Man, it's an RPG. What? No, fuck that. But,
Go ahead.
But I understand their place more now over time, and I do at least think the first one, I would like to give it a play someday. It's just that sometimes I'm not always in the mood for RPGs, so it has to sell me the right way, depending.
My personal specialties with Mega Man are the X series and the Legends series. I've kind of played several original series games, but not all of them, as I've made clear. But it's X and Legends that are really where it's at for me personally.
I would love to talk the first half of the X series, and I would love to talk the Legends trilogy, and okay, well, that's going to get agonizing at the end, but until then, I would love to discuss it.
That would be a very short stream, though. Only 3 games?
So,
we did it for the El Viento roundtable.
Yeah. This is true.
That is a very good point. True. So maybe we should have a second stream devoted to the X games and maybe covering. No, wait. Another stream devoted to the X games and another one devoted to Legends and the classic games that we didn't get around to covering. Beyond that, I am not sure. I mean, there are also the 4 Mega Man Zero games and the 2 ZX ones, which are effectively
we can
more
nail down the details at another point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
here's the
anyway.
thing. We've got so many other streams planned, it's going to take an awfully long time to get to any one of these streams.
Yeah.
That is fair.
For example, next Saturday, if you feel like joining us then, we'll be discussing toys.
And that is one I'm going to be a lot quieter about than I was tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can talk Mighty
Where
Max.
we
you'll be
can
fine.
find.
Yeah,
Is that
give me
where we can hear people talk about the Mega John?
the Meg. What? Huh? What?
Yeah, the what?
Who's a what?
You said something, John, earlier in the roundtable.
Oh, Magic John.
Magic John. Okay,
That's the
Magic-
Japanese
Yeah.
title.
I
of
missed
Totally
That kind
Rad.
of toy.
Yeah.
That very specific kind of
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's a pervert joke. Okay.
No,
Thank
our
you.
none of my streams will be rated 18 plus or triple X.
Okay.
So X not going to give it to you.
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
toy.
No,
Rock, and we gonna roll.
we'll be discussing some of our favorite toy lines that came out over the years. So, stuff like, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Further Adventures of Indiana Jones, all the way up through like Mighty Max, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, there'll be
Why did
5
you
of
say
us.
all of that stuff without mentioning He-Man or Thundercats?
I was just going off the top of my head. They'll be talked about too.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'll discuss what I can, but outside of Mighty Max, I'm gonna have to maybe, I can't really do my homework on this one like I can 80s cartoons because all I can really do is just look at the toys from afar, but I can't actually touch them, so that might be a bit of a problem. I don't know.
yeah,
And I couldn't even touch them, period. My parents wouldn't let me have them as a kid. They said that the shows were commercials for the toys. And my response was, "You're not wrong. Give me the toys."
I wish. I'm sorry to hear they didn't comply with your demands.
yeah,
And
that
even
sucks.
so, as we said in the 80s Toon Stream, they were still fun despite being maybe advertisements, but yeah, I gotcha. I'm sorry. to hear
I
that.
might have,
It's okay.
Sharon, possibly.
Tristan and I have talked about it. We both agree that the things we didn't have as a kid made us what we are now, and that's why we collect stuff.
That's actually not a bad way of putting it.
I had
And,
a bunch
yes.
of toys as a kid, actually. But yeah, that's
I had.
thing.
I did maybe have some, but they were kind of loosely collected, and my memories are really poor out of them outside the. I remember I had these cool Swamp Thing figures where his limbs distended when he pressed a button on his back, and then stringed them back together. That was pretty cool. And yeah, our audience member Snarbu, who was also on our 80s cartoon stream, will be on the toy stream along with Prime and Jay. It's pretty much the exact same group we had for the 80s cartoon stream, which is not surprising considering the
80s
synergy those had with toys.
It's
so.
an 80s cartoon stream reunion, Mike.
Pretty much, yeah. Just 2 or so weeks after or 2 or 3. What shit? No, the Rush stream was last. Yeah, a 3-week reunion. But yeah,
It's going to be fun.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
Yes, fun,
You are
fun.
losing it, yes. So,
My brain is fried. I need to shut the hell up.
anyway, join us next week for the toy stream. After that, there's going to be the month of September. We're still hammering out, but we got some pretty solid ideas in place. And we'll be
yes.
kicking off October with Evil Dead.
Yes, we will.
So, in the meantime, I just have to toss out the obligatory look in the links I put in the video description, and buy my books.
Yep.
For that matter,
Jay Sherman, that shit.
Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my.
If you didn't make the Jay Sherman joke, I was going to do it.
I will never get tired of that ever.
Oh, neither will I.
I'll never get tired of the fact that she actually shoots the head off the cardboard stand.
Yes. Now,
oh god.
You'll also see links to Mike and Kate's and Steve's channels down there. So
I don't use Twitch like at all. Follow my YouTube channel.
Okay.
I'll follow you on Blue Sky.
I attempted to find you on YouTube, Kate, but for some reason it didn't come up. You'll have to send that to me so I can fix it.
I did send it to you before. I'll send it to you again.
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
So never trust my memory when it comes to things.
Oh my gosh.
It bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have your brain drowning in blood ammonia for a couple of days.
Understandable.
Couple that with age.
Yeah.
So
I posted the link in the comments so people can see it.
excellent. So I shall make it a point to go ahead and get that and adjust the yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
Thank
And I
you.
just subscribed.
all right.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
If I haven't
Yeah,
subscribed, I
much
really should, so I'll actually have it.
Hooray.
Yeah, I haven't
Thank you
streamed
very
in
much.
I haven't streamed in like 3 years myself, and I'm not sure if I'll ever get back to it. But you know, follow anyway. Maybe I will. We'll
Hey,
see.
but you know, speaking of tonight's stream, I remember what happened when you did stream one time.
If you're going where I think you're going, I guess go there.
Top
let me just-
Man.
Oh yeah, right. Actually, I thought you were going to reference my my huge expose of why Cobra Triangle is fucking bullshit. They even clipped that one.
Fry
Yeah,
the
okay.
monster.
That's fun.
No, I was thinking of Top Man because it's relevant to tonight's stream.
That is a good point, and yeah, just I'm trying to think of a joke with like top and bottom, but that's you don't want to make it X-rated, like you said, so I'll just shut up now.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you just tell us what happened?
Yeah, I thought I already did, or did you want me to talk about Cobra Triangle?
Oh no, talk about Top Man.
I more or less already mentioned it, but I mean to remind everyone. I attempted to use the top spin against Shadow Man, which because that's the weapon that one of the hardest robot masters in the game, i.e. Shadow Man, is weak to. And I jumped and I hit him once, and then somehow all of my top spin energy drained after I used it on him, and I had to fight him the rest of the stage, the rest of the fight with the Buster like a chump. In fact, I probably also died and had to restart and just take him on entirely with the Mega Buster, which I should have done in the first place because the top spin is fucking terrible. And then it happened again when I faced him on the teleporter room refight in the exact same play, and that was very frustrating.
You did mention that, but yeah, I could swear something happened with Top Man himself and he killed you.
What?
Then again, like I also did say, never trust my memory.
Yeah, I probably underestimated him, and he did kill me for one. Like, he does have one of the simpler patterns in that game, in my opinion, and he's easily beaten with 4 hard knuckles, but maybe I was just really off my game. Sometimes when I stream, I don't focus as well as I could, and I make some really embarrassing boners for all to see.
Well,
way of phrasing, but yeah.
But I guess as long as we go ahead and talk about Cobra Triangle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure everyone wants to go to sleep soon, but
yes,
I will at least say that. So Cobra Triangle is a really overtly fucking super difficult game by Rare, which is even worse than Battletoads, and I'll stick by that to my grave. But occasionally you have to fight a boss in your isometric boat. These stages are called Fry the Monster stages. Mm-hmm. The first boss being the Sea Serpent, who's that pretty wicked render on the title screen. That would be that one who's shooting all sorts of fire at you, and I had a very shitty weapon. This one firing mode where you could just fire out one like slow pellet, and when you press the fire button again it explodes into like 4 cross-shaped pellets. It's kind of inaccurate, it's really slow, and it's terrible. It's like getting the F gun from Contra, I think. But I lost several lives during the Friday the Monster. If I had a better weapon, I could have maybe destroyed it before it took any of my lives, but at this point, no, it was just really kicking my ass. And the timer was running out, and these stages all have really strict timers to them. And somehow, on my last life, I managed to fry the monster in question, with 2 seconds left on the clock. Which, while the boss's death animation was playing, those 2 seconds ran out, and the game took my last life very unfairly. And it killed me when, like, I thought I was on time, but it determined that I was late because it's a jank-ass game, and I just kind of stood there, stunned it in silence for several seconds before I broke out in fucking Joker-like laughter and said, "Good night, everybody. I don't think we're going to do any better than that." And yeah, I ended the stream there. So that's how that went.
So thank you for coming to our Cobra Triangle stream tonight.
Yes.
So
it was a good time.
Yes. So everyone who stuck around for the whole thing, thank you. And thank you, Steve, for joining us on this one.
Yes. It was my pleasure. I hope we can do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally,
like
man.
Might not be for a while, but absolutely. So,
Indeed.
And of course, Kate, thanks for coming back in.
Thank you for having me.
As always. Yes. It's been a pleasure. And Mike, you're still not allowed to take point on any other stream, so there.
I don't intend to for a really long time, at least, so that's fair. But I hope you all enjoyed this, even if it ran on a little bloated.
Yeah, well, we basically...
You'll get a concession stand dropped on your head.
Oh, yes. That could also happen.
Yeah. Well, we just basically spent the last 15 minutes just BSing, so...
There's that, too. There's that, too.
So, to that I say... have a fun. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.